Okay, I think we're on now. I don't think it was connected earlier. So today we'll talk about breakup stories unpacked fully and completely, and get into it. So, like I said before, if you like the channel, like it. If you don't like it, it's fine. You can subscribe. Got up to a little weird start there because the connection wasn't on. Hi, Coach Mac. I'm writing to ask a very specific question. If I do no contact, what's my chances of getting her back, and in what time period? My story goes like this. My ex-girlfriend and I broke up on good terms. In fact, I thought it was more of a break. Then I saw her on Tinder, as was I. I guess we both were testing the waters. I'm 29, she's 38. I know it's not common, but she looks really good for her age. Well, 38's still pretty young in my book because I'm 39. And she always treated me like a king till recently. She was a regular gym rat and exercise addict till about 3 months ago when she lost her job due to COVID. Then her local gym was closed and she fell into some sort of depression. I was there for her as we lived together. I've never really liked gyms, but I run every day and eat healthy. I also play basketball at a local park. Okay, so COVID didn't bother you as much as it bothered her, all of which wasn't so affected in my routine during COVID. I also kept my job, so her routine and meaning to her day was lost. She got addicted to Netflix and Cheetos. That's pretty gross. She gained over 25 pounds in 3 months, and none of that is muscle, more like blubber. Well, being that someone lost their job and they lost their place to work out, I can see that they could fall into some bad habits. The COVID thing, a lot of people fell into sadness and depression. I'm sure that that affected things. Cheetos, that's one of those things that I just think is nasty anyways, with the cheese dust in the side of the mouth. She gained over 25 pounds. That's a lot in 3 months. I finally had a talk with her after hinting to go for a run with me or get a YouTube channel that might help her work out from home. Some people say that they really feel bad about this, that they, if their partner's getting big or overweight, that they don't want to say anything. But the reality is it does lead to a breakup the longer you go without saying something. It's better to be honest and upfront. Hinting doesn't always give people the message. Be direct is what I would say. And if she was into working out before, it was probably just a area of her life where she hit a down spell. But bad habits can catch fire quick. I finally had a talk with her after hinting to go for a run with me or get a YouTube channel that might help her work out from home. She shrugged it off. So about 6 weeks ago, I moved out and we agreed it was a break. Her words, not mine. The condo was hers before we met, so it was an easy call to move. I felt a little bitter as I've helped make the payment for the last couple of years. For the first month we were on a break, I offered to give her some money to help out since she wasn't working. If you're paying towards a payment on her condo, but that would probably be similar to what you would pay in rent, then you shouldn't be so bitter. If you knew that going in, that's a choice. If you somehow felt like you would be owed back that money as if you bought the condo with her, that's a whole nother story. But this is why when you get into a thing like a condo, which is a business transaction in a lot of ways, if you're not clear up front, you can get burned. If it's in her name, it's in her name. If you're going to hold that later on, I don't think you have a whole lot of weight. You're not going to get your money back probably for that reason. The idea that you helped her with some more money after the fact, I don't think you'll regret that. I think that you'll actually feel good about doing that. Then when I moved out, she started exercising again, even posting these outdoor boot camp workouts. We got some personal trainer, ex-SEAL type. Let me read this again. I felt a little bitter as I've helped make the payment for the last couple of years. For the first month we were on a break, I offered to give her some money to help out since she wasn't working. She accepted. Then when I moved out, she started exercising again, even posting these outdoor boot camp workouts. She got a personal trainer, ex-SEAL type. I'm not sure, but I think she's lost all the weight, looks great in photos. Well, that's what happens when you break up. Things get real. She's back on the market. She feels like she needs to improve herself, and you were accepting of the fact that she was gaining weight and being on the couch. And now she realizes probably if she's going to get a better or equal catch to you, that she's going to have to probably work out. She can't continue those kind of habits. I'm not sure, but we've been in a brief text chats. How are you today? Good, and you type stuff. About 2 weeks ago, I asked if she wanted to get a drink on the weekend. She said no, maybe another time. She's in training right now and doesn't want to drink. I responded, okay, let me know when you want to get together. I miss you. You wrote this. Okay, she said no, maybe another time. I responded, okay, let me know when you want to get together. I miss you. She responded with an emoji happy face. That's it. Well, I mean, just because you say I miss you doesn't mean she's going to say I miss you back. You did make her feel really good and special in this moment, which in breakups, people like attention. They like to be missed. And now she's not wondering about it. Now, about a week ago, my good friend who wouldn't lie told me she was at a coffee shop with her training partner, looking pretty happy, and they were flirting a lot. I'm thinking of calling her up and asking her out one more time, or just going full out, no contact. What's your take? What's the better route? I would say that probably the best route would be that you go all in on no contact, because if you already sent a message and you said, I miss you, and the thing that gets me that really stands out, and this is good that you're writing it out, she said no, maybe another time. She didn't suggest another time. So she's not, at this particular time, she's not very interested. She's obviously working towards being a better her, not for you, but probably because she's single again, because when she was with you for 3 months, she didn't put in that effort. And it's really interesting because people will go, oh, right after we broke up, they started going to the gym. Right after we did this, they started doing this. And then the reality is, that's what motivates people, is consequences. So she probably meant, all right, if I'm not going to be able to eat Cheetos and watch Netflix all day and get a new man that's equal or higher value, so I better get off my ass. And this is the way she responded. The other thing is, you didn't mention how long you've been together or how long you've been in a relationship, and that in that time, was this a problem before, or was this the first time? So I would need to know a little bit more about the history of the relationship. Now, at this point, when you've already asked her out 2 weeks ago and she's seeing someone else, I would go into no contact. She knows that you left it on I miss you. You left it on that you wanted to hang out with her. That's a good place to leave it. To come back to her, because she responded with maybe another time. She needs to suggest that other time, not you. In that moment, if she really wanted to go out with you, she would have immediately suggested another time. So at this point, I would say go no contact. Tell your friend thanks for the information, but in the future, don't give you any. Friends' information is still secondhand. It's interpreted through other eyes. And depending on their situation, they could be hoping that you get angry. This sounds weird, but sometimes friends or family members, depending on their own place in their life, love the fact that you're in a breakup, or love the fact, and I know you're thinking, what love? What do you mean? Misery la company, right? In other words, if they're in a bad place, or they had a bad breakup, or they're single and bitter, and they find out you're in a breakup and you're bitter, they want to bring you into their group, their little tribe. And so if your friend, or I think it was your friend, your good friend, tells you information like that, it's still through his eyes. Flirting can be, especially from far away. I mean, what's considered flirting, right? But it could be, the trainer could be a gay guy that she's being friendly with. Who knows? That's just an example. And so when you get information from friends like that, I had it happen to me a couple of times in my breakup, where they'd go, oh, you want me to give you some information? Nope, I don't want to know anything. That's full no contact. Because secondhand information, just like social media information, no bueno. It's actually faulty information. It's got holes to it. It's got puzzle pieces missing. And then you get caught in the wind trying to figure it out. And you use this term called I think. And I think means I don't know. I think means this is what I want to know. This is what I want to believe. And sometimes you want to believe that they're maybe seeing someone else so you can somehow get angry at the fact that they haven't called you. And that's not going to serve you either. The best way to get is to hear no evil, see no evil, right? So my take would be to go no contact. The beginning line, though, was I'm asking him, if I do no contact, what's my chances of getting her back in what time period? There is no time period that works. I always tell people no contact. It's for you, and if they come back, it's a bonus. But bottom line is, if you have a time stamp on it, you're going to get disappointed. What you do is switch the tides from you wondering, hoping, and wishing to having her wondering, hoping, and wishing. And what you do is you start the process of actually really breaking up. Because in the beginning, when you contact each other and one person's weaning someone off the relationship, you're actually a crutch in getting over one another. And whoever meets someone first wins. And the other person goes, wow, I thought we were still talking. It's misleading. And so you get started first. When you go into no contact, it's like, look, negotiations are off. I'm no longer going to sleep with you or eat dinner with you or listen to your bad day at work, because that was something I did as your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your partner. These are things that you don't get now that we're not sleeping together, because that's the difference, right? It's like, yeah, you could get my help before, or I'd listen to you before, but no, that's not part of the package anymore. And a lot of people secretly do that, thinking that they're going to get back together. But whoever broke up with who, the reality is there was a problem there. Now, she's fixed the problem by going to the gym and getting off her ass and losing the weight that you had a problem with. And I'd venture to say that her personality probably changed during that time. And now you're like, wow, she's really got up for this. That doesn't mean that she's going to go right back to you, because some people, once they break up, they don't want to just go back so easily because they made a decision and they don't want to go back on it. But in this particular situation, you haven't done a whole lot wrong. You haven't begged and pleaded. You haven't said mean, nasty things. And so if she does have some time, and let's just say that she was flirting with that guy at the cafe, so what? It doesn't erase the fact that she was with you and she wasn't completely negative about you asking her out. She had a little bit of a happy face. But at this point, I would say stop chasing, stop wishing, stop hoping, start moving forward. And if it comes your way, it comes your way. That's my take. All right, let's check on the live stream real quick. We got brand new Skinner who got in early. Thanks for the donation of $9.99. I really appreciate it, Skinner. We got 6 on deck, 1 like. Appreciate the likes. We'll get into the next story. Hello, Coach McCarthy. I've got another breakup story. Not sure how you do this, but you're good at it. Well, thanks for the compliment. I broke up with my ex-girlfriend 2 years ago. We were together for 5 years. I'm now 31 and he's 35. Our original problem was that we lost that spark, and intimacy went to 0 for about 6 months. Okay, so let's recap that, because there's a lot of information here. I broke up with my ex-boyfriend 2 years ago. This is rare. Usually people don't contact me with some ex of 2 years ago. We were together for 5 years. Okay. Our original problem was we lost the spark, and intimacy went to 0 for about 6 months. So I'm thinking the last 6 months, we just stopped being lovers. I don't know how or why, but in the beginning we were like rabbits, doing it anytime or everywhere. How does that work? Well, a lot of people call it the honeymoon phase. Usually that's about a 2-year maximum. If you read a lot of different books on this and studies or whatever. Is it possible to have a honeymoon phase for the whole duration of your relationship? Sure. Does it happen often? No. Within a year to 2 years, it usually starts to decline or level out. And that's just very common. I also believe that 4 to 5 years is a very common marker for couples that are in their 20s to late 20s to break up, maybe even early 30s. Why is that? Because there's almost this stair steps, or steps, if you will, of the next part of the relationship is, and this is especially true in Western culture, and it goes something like this. We get together, first thing is first. We're attracted to each other, first things first. Then we realize we have a good connection when we go out. We're finishing each other's sentences. Then we start to trust each other. That's when you maybe move in together. And then it's rose petals and wine glasses, it's peaches and cream, it's all good, it's all great. You have a lot in common. Then the next step is probably living together, which might be sooner than that. Then the next step is maybe sharing some bills, helping each other out, going to family parties and birthdays and festivals. And then the next step is like, should we get married? And then if that doesn't happen, because correct me if I'm wrong, most times when you get married, the next step from marriage is kids. And then the next step from that is usually getting a house together. Now you could change those steps, but you know where I'm going with this. It's like next goal, next goal, next goal, next goal as a couple. And then what happens is if you don't get the next goal, like let's say you're in your late 20s, which is when she broke up, if she's 31 now. And you're like, yeah, we live together, but we're not going to get married. It's kind of like, it just kind of stagnates and stays there. The weird thing to this, though, is if you get married, you have kids, you get the house, you become American Beauty with Kevin Spacey, if you've seen that movie. It will decline anyways, because what's the next goal? So that's what I believe happens a lot of times. Now, a lot of times people, you have to keep dating each other, you got to keep doing this. There was a guy that called in yesterday that had a really good story about his breakup. And it was the same kind of thing, late 20s, early 30s, where they're together 5 or 6 years. And I asked him, what do you think happened? He said, well, we grew apart. It was easy to break up. But they both had changed their routines and their jobs. And so he was getting a PhD. He said he was studying every night. She had a different schedule. She was getting home late at night. So they just didn't see each other as much. They weren't each other's priority any longer. So that happens a lot. And this is what's going to pull people apart. She writes, it's like the first 2 or 3 years were grand, and then the 4th year was declining, and the 5th year we just were constantly bickering and sick of each other. Very common, because probably in the 5th year you had no more goals left, and if you guys were both in the same place, not improving or not getting better, all you have to do is look at each other, and actually usually one of you is disappointed with the other or disappointed with yourself. If you're both growing in good directions that you're satisfied with and you're happy with, then you're probably going to grow together and it's going to get better. Like I said, that was 2 years ago, and I believe we both recovered well. Now I've been in a serious relationship for about 9 months. Most of it's good, but now he wants me to move in with him, and I'm hesitant because I believe it may affect our romantic time together. It could. Mating in Captivity, which is a really good book, talks about getting your space. And I've heard recently in the live stream some people say that once they've moved in with a partner, that the intimacy begins to lack within a year, within 2 years, because there's less dynamite to it. I really like this guy, and even could say I love him. Well, that means you don't love him yet if you could say it. I'm not sure he won't be full on upset and offended if I say I don't want to live together. Well, you got to be honest and upfront, because living together is something that you're not going to change in a week if you don't like it. If you're not ready for it, just say I'm not ready for it. The other thing I have to ask, is he still close to his ex? I don't get this completely, although they share the same field of work, and he says they no longer love each other nor have feelings, that they are truly good friends. That's possible. I mean, that's up to you to accept or not accept, but I'll say this, in the first 9 months, if you're going to accept it, it's going to be cemented into the relationship. In a year or 2 years or 3 years down the road, when she comes to a Christmas party or a birthday party or what have you, and you get all upset and lose it, just realize that you accepted this up front. Now, she says, I don't want to demand he stops talking to her, but I don't think it's a healthy thing. Well, have that conversation with him. Say exactly what you just said to me in this story to him. I'd prefer to just keep to happy birthday text, and that's it. I mean, that's what I do with my ex. So this is exactly what people do. I do this, so he should do this. Your ex is not his ex. Your relationship with your ex is not the same as his relationship with his ex. I'd say if you trust him, it should be fine, especially if it's on work, but there is a line, there is a boundary, and you got to be honest and upfront with what makes you uncomfortable. Do you think I'm just afraid to move in because of what happened in my past relationship? Sure. The brain is constantly using a Rolodex of past events to make future decisions. Does that make sense? So your past situation absolutely is going to influence this situation right now. And I don't blame you for being hesitant. 9 months is a time that a lot of people would move in together. But if you're not ready, you're not ready. Be honest and upfront about that. Wait another 9 months. What's the difference? If you're doing well now, don't mess with it. And you could take, a lot of times the reason people move in together is financial. If everyone in the world, all finances were the same and everyone made the same amount of money and everyone was enabled to have their own place, a lot more people would probably go, you know what, I'll just keep my place. Could this be different? Absolutely could be different. But if you're not ready, you're going to be filtering and looking for reasons to be upset with it. So the way the brain works, if you're already kind of second guessing it, the minute something goes wrong or triggers an old thing from the past, you're gonna become the same position that you were in before, and you're gonna believe you're in the same position. What's your take? I believe I just gave it to you. Okay, so Yamel, how are you? It's been a while. I haven't seen you on for a little while. Rob IS, how you doing, bud? Let's get into another story we got lined up. Mr. Coach, I'm writing you this story in hopes that you could give me some objective answers to my problems with my current ex. I broke up with her over 2 months ago. In short, she's 37 years old and still gets way too drunk at public gatherings. I've been embarrassed by this numerous times, and she laughs it off and blames it on just being drunk. So this is an interesting situation that you say, I guess you can call her a binge drinker, as she only drinks on the weekend or special occasions, but she has no limits. Binge drinker, functional alcoholic, whatever you want to call it, it's not working for you or the relationship. It's never good to be embarrassed by your partner. I think Brand New Skinner uses the term secondhand embarrassment when you're a friend or family member in this situation. I know I've witnessed it. I know I've been with a girlfriend in the past that she wasn't a bad drinker. She was not an alcoholic, but if she got drunk, it was embarrassing. And everyone else at the party or the venue goes, oh, she's fine, because it's fun to watch someone get drunk when it's not your girlfriend. And everyone around is like, oh, she's cool. And then you got the one creepy guy, could be a distant friend of yours or someone at the occasion that's trying to take advantage or hit on her whenever she's alone at the party because she's a wounded on the savannah. So I've been there. I've done it. It's one of the reasons why I broke up with an ex. And it's no bueno. It's not fun. It's not fair. And it's something that a lot of times you think that you can somehow complain about or wince about and change. But the reality is, until she gets a video camera taken of her doing something or there's serious consequences to her getting drunk. I know that one of the exes I had, her boss even told her she had a review. And the review came up, and the boss was talking about different things, and she had a really good review. And he goes, the one thing I'd say is, you do drink a little bit too much at events. And that was when, drinks are flowing and they're free at a company party. And I said, well, I've told you that before. He's basically saying you're not very good at when you're drunk. You're out of your element. Some people become a different person. So he writes, I end up babysitting her. The things she says when she's drunk are just repulsive. I finally cut bait and felt good about it, although did worry she'd drink more. This always happens. Whenever you care about someone and they have a drinking problem, you're always going to worry about them. And you just have to ask yourself, do you want to have a relationship out of pity? She begged and pleaded for me to come back, even calling my mom many times over. This is one of those things that comes up a lot. People ask me, should I call her mom or her dad? No, I think it pushes away your ex even more, and they lose a lot of respect for you. Then my mom would say, I should talk to her. He quotes, I should talk to her so she stops calling me. Yeah, that's a really good dynamic there. My mother refuses to let her know that she doesn't agree with her drinking either. At some point, maybe you need to call her up or block her from your mom's phone if that's possible, but rather just kindly listens to her. At this point, I'm going to go on no contact completely, but I'm worried she'll show up to my work, which is close to where she lives. Well, here again, you're worried about her on her own. You're worried about her coming to your work. Get out and get on offense and go. Maybe you need to go up to her or call her directly and go, hey, I'm a little worried that you're going to show up to my work. Is that going to happen? Are you going to be able to control yourself? If not, if that happens, you deal with it when you deal with it. And I'll tell you what, your coworkers, if you have a good reputation already about who you are and what you're about, they're not going to blame you. She's going to make the fool out of herself, and they're not going to judge you for it. They're going to go, wow, this is why you broke up with her. So it's not going to be that bad. And if it happens once and she's really out of hand, you call the police, you make a report, and you get a restraining order. As petty as it sounds, if she's not abusive or anything like that, she's still coming to your job. Things that aren't true, she's also posted some nasty items on social media regarding my character. So this came up recently in a call-in on a live stream. The guy was saying that he had a lot of issues with his ex going on social media and saying some nasty things. And I said, look, your friends, your real friends, will know the real you, and they'll just look down on that individual more. There's ways to block her. You could certainly defend yourself on social media, but I mean, then you're getting into a social media pissing contest, and I don't advise that either. But I would go back to the fact, if you've got good friends, you've got a good reputation, they're going to know what's true and what's not true. And really, most people that are of good character look down on any kind of social media vomiting of your ex. I've had friends recently that have had that where they're in relationships and their current girlfriends have aired stuff on social media. And immediately, I don't even want to know what it is. I just heard about it secondhand. I just lose respect for the individual that did that. Regardless of what's going on in a relationship, to air it out on social media is just a character flaw times 10. It's unacceptable. What's your take on dealing with this? I would block her from your social media. I would make the friends that count aware of what she's doing. I wouldn't overly defend yourself. And just be reassured by those friends that, like, yeah, we know she's out of hand. We don't take any of this serious. Because what would you do in that situation if it was one of your best friends and some ex is saying all these bad things about your friend? If you know your friend really well, you're not going to go, oh my God, I can't believe my buddy did that. If it's really bad, like she's claiming that you abused her or stole money, then your friend could ask you that directly. But in the process, I would block her out of everything. I just want to release her back into the wild, but she won't leave me alone. All attraction for her has been drained out of me. That's why it's going to be really easy for you to go no contact. You just got to get out of a situation where you feel sorry for her and you're worried about her, and into one where you actually say, well, I'm not going to accept nasty talk on social media. If she shows up at my work, I'm not going to play games. I'll immediately call the cops and I'll immediately direct her outside the room. I'm not going to placate to this. Okay, so we have, I'm good. Hi, Rob, 37, is still getting publicly drunk. Called the mom. This is not going to end well. So she's 37, acting like she's 17. Even in public place that they know you frequent. Or even in a public place that they know you frequent. Jamie G, welcome. I don't know if you've been on before. But we're just unpacking some breakup stories here. If you have a breakup story you want to share, send it into writemac.com. I will do some call-ins today if someone has a direct problem. Yesterday, we had an interesting call from someone that didn't have a problem, but was just explaining how they are doing really well right now. And that actually, similar to today, the problem of them originally breaking up, he said he was in a 6-year relationship, and then about a year later, he got into a new relationship, and that was only a year, and that woman basically had less feelings for him than he had, and he had a lot of trouble with it. And it just goes to show you, this is why your story really counts and how every breakup's different. If you had 4 or 5 breakups, every breakup's different. Aleph, I'm going to ask you now. You've been silent the whole time, patiently waiting on the mic here. You've had 4 breakups in your young life, right? 3?
3, actually.
All different?
Yes.
All different feelings?
Yes, different feelings.
And you broke up with them, or they broke up with you?
For the second one, it's just like that girl that broke up with me, but the rest is I broke up with them.
Oh, what a man. How did you go about How did you go about breaking up with him? Was it through text, phone, or in person?
Uh,
Curious.
for the first girl, it's like face on face, like
Face to face. Okay.
yes.
Face to face. Did you go, hey, we need to talk?
No, it's not like that. It's like sorry, I have something to confess. Like I did cheating on you, and I cannot stand that fact.
Okay, so it was a declaration of honesty.
Yes.
You told her you were cheating. This was your first girlfriend?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. And I could see the shame in your face right now. You still feel bad?
Yeah, when I think about it, I still feel bad. The small words is she forgive me, and she said that that's fine. You accept that, but you still be you still be honest. But I said no, I can't stand that fact that I cheat on you. So yeah,
Okay, so that was the first one. So you broke up because you wanted to be honest about cheating. You felt guilty about it. And
Yep.
did you end up with the girl that you cheated on being the next girlfriend?
no.
Okay. So then the next girlfriend,
Hmm.
you broke up with her, she broke up with you.
She broke up with me
Why?
because we have the long distance relationship, and we could not be along together that much because our lifestyle is different, our religion thing too.
So you knew it wasn't going to work and she knew it wasn't going to work.
She knew that wasn't gonna work.
Was that hard on you?
On the first time, yeah.
Did you take it personal?
Yeah. Why?
Like personal means like that it was your fault?
Oh, well, I think it's a part of it is my fault too, cause sometimes, like you said, that I'm like a kid, but after that I grow up from that.
Okay. Okay. And then your third one, you broke up.
Yes.
And that was the worst relationship as far as drama, right?
Yeah.
And so you and that particular one, how long were you together in that last one?
The last one is not that long too. It's about 7 months.
7 months. Was that the longest relationship you had?
That what we be together. But if including the time that we learn know each other before, it's about years and 1 month.
A year and 1 month. Okay. And so why did you break up with her?
Well, because I can't stand that when we spend time together, she's still texting with her ex.
That was the primary reason? I've heard you talk about this before. I've asked you questions.
That's what the worst.
So that's when you broke up, you're like, I can't do this because you talked to your ex. But it was more than that, correct?
Yeah, it's like
Look at this deep breaths right now. He still has feelings here. You can see it. It's like,
well, okay, hold on. It's like I start to feel bad after I caught up the conversation that she talked about with me about. She talked about me with her ex. Like she didn't get serious with me that much. She still missed him.
she said she still missed her ex.
Yep, that's what they call Sean. So I would like to know how the thing that could be role plays. That's why I pretend that I don't know anything about.
How do you know that?
Cause I know her password line. Actually, I don't want.
Oh no! You had her
Well,
password on her.
The thing I just
on her
it
text?
just make me curious is
God, this. Can I just interject for a moment?
Okay.
Because this is way more common than people realize. That people have access. You never told me this before. So you had access to her text.
yeah. So it's make me feel bad with that because hey.
How did you have access to that? She just was sloppy with her password, or
No, she gave me that password.
she gave it to you because
She said that she had nothing to blind me, to trick on me.
so you were able to check through your phone, or you had to use her phone to check this?
On that time, it's like when I spend the night with her, and I just curious why her ex keep texting her.
And so that's when you checked her phone,
Yes.
and then that's when you got all you needed.
Yeah.
And then and she was making comments about your relationship to her ex, complaining about you.
Mhm.
That's dirty.
Yeah.
So in that moment, did you break up with her right there, or did you take it home for a little while and not say anything?
On that time I didn't break up with her like face to face, but it's like I just would like to spend more time to think, how can I just get this with this girl and make this girl disappear from my life, not to get back together again, because I don't want to see her ever.
After you read that,
Yes.
so it was before that you had
For that, I planned that how I could get out from her like completely.
So this is interesting. You were actually looking for a reason,
Yes.
and then you found it.
Yeah.
Did you tell her exactly why you broke up? That you saw that?
I didn't tell her at that time, but she said why, and then it's like when I tell that I would like to be not to be hot tempered, but when everything came out, fuck is what her like
You said it. You told her.
yeah.
You told her I saw your text messages.
Yes.
And what'd she say?
Hey, do you know why? She said that what she asking me why you did that. I said, you know what you said with your ex, right? Then she's standing for a while.
She's stunned
Yes.
because she was surprised you knew that.
Yes.
And what'd she say?
She just say only sorry.
Sorry to laugh.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
And you were like in your head, you're like, sorry's not enough. That's not going to do it.
actually in my head, fuck off.
Yeah, because it's just evidence, huh? It's like when you're in a relationship, you kind of wonder if you're correct,
Yes.
and then when you have evidence, you're like, we can't go back on that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wow, you said what you said, and then, oh, I'm sorry, I texted that to my ex about you. That's like a bad one. But what I'd like to go back to though is the idea that I've never had this happen to me, but I have a friend actually that's extremely worried when he's talking that he left his phone on. Because he had a situation where him and his ex-wife, who he didn't have a good relationship with, that actually was something that I helped him with a long time ago. But him and his wife were talking about another couple, talking bad or gossiping, and they left their phone on. One of them left their phone on, and so I'm not sure, like they got off the phone and left it on, or they dialed him by accident. And so he's always like, oh shit, let's make sure the phones are off. And I'm always like, what? Because he always thinks that's going to happen again. And I just wonder, like, the amount. I've known another friend of mine that actually got access. He's very computer savvy. He got access. This is something where she gave you the password. So this isn't as devious as she's saying, you can trust me, here's the password. So she dug her own grave on that one. She messed up her. You didn't go behind her back, really. You're like, well, you told me to, like, if you wanted to plead your case, you could be like, you told me to trust you, and you gave me the password, correct? So she kind of set herself up, right? But at the flip side, you were looking for a reason, big reason. And then when you found it, you're like, dust.
Yeah. On that time, when I spent the night with her, to be honest, my mind is like, fuck, like, damn it.
But you let her sleep?
I just let her sleep. Like,
What a kind person.
I try not to be mad. Like, man, it's like,
But the whole night you were steaming, and then the next morning you told her?
Next morning I didn't tell her. I still would like to know about the role play, how long it's going on.
Do you think that she was actually cheating?
She did not that cheating, just only conversation. But that how it break apart.
I don't blame you. I mean, that kind of a thing is, and you had already said, like, hey, I don't like this.
Yes.
But to complain about someone to their ex and then see that, it's like, oh, shit. But I mean, if everyone could know what everyone says about everyone behind their backs, I bet there's a lot of things that would hurt people's feelings. You know, like, because people talk and they say things. And the few friends that I've had over the years that don't do that, I'm very impressed by that, because I know I've done it. I've done it plenty, and I still do it sometimes. It's actually a bad habit. I think that it's human nature to kind of like talk a little bit, but not have bad intentions. But when it's your partner saying it to their ex, no.
Yeah.
No. If she, like, would it be the same issue if she said that to one of her best friends?
It's gonna be same, but it's not could be hurt feeling me
No,
that much.
I think it's different. I think if she's airing out things about her relationship to her best friend, it might upset you, but you wouldn't be pissed. You'd be like, okay, that's her best
fault.
That's her best friend.
Yes.
and then you'd look at your actions and see what it was about. But like to air it out to the ex.
I had to compare things too. I never compare anyone with anyone, especially for the partner. I didn't say that you are the suck girlfriend ever I have if you compare to my first and second. I didn't say that to her, but what she did, no. So okay.
Well, I give you fucking credit for not. So how long after you saw this text did you actually break up? Because you said you slept on it, which is amazing. Because some people be like, "Wake the fuck up! I need to talk to you." Right? There are some people that would not be able to do this. But it's what's really interesting about this and doing breakup coaching and talking to a lot of people. Jesse, I'll get to your comment in a moment because that's interesting. Is that a lot of people will find something like that, Aleph, like you did, and they hold it. And I think, I don't know this because we haven't talked about this before. I've known you for a long time and you're a close friend. But the thing is, I wonder why people hold it. And I'm wondering, is the reason you hold it, you were scared how angry you'd get if you talked about it?
I'm not scared in that, but I just would like to know what trick on what she have on her sleeve. I mean,
it's interesting because people do this. They go, this one friend of mine a while back I've talked about. He had all this information on his ex, talking to her ex, but even worse, they were like romantically talking. Let's just say dirty, or not just dirty, but like just repeated stuff. And she was complaining about him. She was like, "Oh, I'd like to see," and my buddy was tracking this for over a month. And he had this sick smile on his face, like he was kind of proud of being able to find this information. I'm like, when are you going to fucking confront her? And he's like, I'm just waiting. And I was like, why would you do that? He actually enjoyed the fact, because he said he'd be like, oh, what were you up to today? Talk to anyone? No. Like he would be throwing her into more lies. And he goes, I just enjoy catching her on all these lies. But the one thing that they had a business together, so I think he didn't want to bail so quickly because it would have affected his business. But I was just like, why didn't you say something right away? And you're saying the same thing, like you held off because you wanted to see how far she would go with it even further, right? I wonder why we do that.
Well, maybe it's like that guy that I take about 1 month after that actually. Because I planning to kind of dish her away too, and it's like I just want to know how this thing go on. That, like I told you, that was the purpose of mine. And she just like I don't know after that she talking with her ex or not, but When I found out that I would like to know when you're gonna lie to me again, but it's like I just don't have interest in that. I just feel like, okay, how could I disappear from you?
So you were looking for an out.
Yes.
So were you hesitant? You think because you didn't want to have that conversation?
You mean about that?
Like I said, you didn't break up right away. You held it for a little while. So like, were you just like, I don't want to do this now?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of put it off. Because some people just want to get into it. It's just a thing. Because you don't seem like a type that likes getting in fights or arguments, and so maybe that's why. Okay, so let's get into. Thanks for that, Aleph. Maybe we'll come back to that in a moment. We got a few.
Yeah.
Aleph just got really deep here. All right. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. So you have to trust the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. This approach has never let me down. It has made all the difference in my life. Well, that's great. Steve Jobs, that's correct. That's where that quote comes from. What you mean by that is the good things actually lead to, the bad things actually lead to good things sometimes.
Yeah.
And being at ground zero actually is sometimes a good place to be rather than being at negative. It's like an ex who cheats and talks a lot of shit about you, but they still beg and plead. This is what someone said. If you go looking for something hard enough, eventually you're going to find it, so don't be surprised when you get the answer you were searching for. I agree with that. That happens a lot. Like I said, it's not like it's not like you were completely surprised when you found that fucking text message, right? You weren't shocked. You were upset.
Yeah.
But you weren't overly surprised.
Yeah.
You were surprised maybe a little bit, but like shock is like, oh my God, like I can't believe you did that. Like totally out of character. For example, maybe your second girlfriend, which sounded like you had the best connection with, if I'm correct, but it had long distance and you had religion issues. You'd be shocked if she did that.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what? I didn't see this coming, right? So there was probably some signs that this might be happening. Like Max says, what are you chasing? How could you beg for someone who blatantly disrespects you? Yeah, and if that's a big thing when you're with someone, like disrespect to an outside party. It's like we get in an argument, closed doors, in the car, privately, and you disrespect me, I might get upset. In public or to another person, way worse. Actually, that's a big thing in Thai culture also.
Yeah.
Like to be publicly disrespected.
Fight.
Yeah. Jesse, dude, metaphorically kicked in the nuts by my ex today. LOL. Well, at least you can laugh about it, dude. Is this Jesse from America or Jesse from England? I think it's Jesse from America. Jesse, if you want to call in on Skype and talk about it, I'm available, especially for you because we have done coaching before and I do know your situation. I realize the only way you can control an angry ex is to do no contact. If they're bipolar, control their anger for them to learn how to control it. This bipolar situation that comes up a lot and different issues that your ex have, like these are things like I tell people, you're not specialized in dealing with bipolar individuals, so don't try it. Let's see here. Hi Rob and Mac, what's up Crystal? San Diego's fine. Conversation was going well, started flirting a bit. She called me dude, made a joke about it, and then she threw a dude in my face, said she likes being called dude and it's better than calling him daddy in public. Calling him? I'm a little confused, Jesse. So conversation was going well, started flirting a bit. She called me dude, made a joke about it, and then she threw a dude in my face, said he likes being called dude and it's better than calling him daddy. Who's he? I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused. I said, LOL, well, I guess that explains a good idea. Corey Wayne has a few lines for that kind of situation. She didn't respond after that, so I'm backing off. I'm assuming this is a text. Frame control means that you're controlling the conversation. So, for example, if Aleph goes, when we get done with the live stream, Aleph goes, hey, Mac, let's go get lunch at Ooh La La Cafe. And I said, yeah, I'll get lunch, but we're going to go to this place. I'm going to control the frame. That's me saying, like, no, we're not going to go to the place you want to go. Aleph says, hey, let's go get lunch in about 10 minutes. I go, no, we'll get it in 15. It's like that's frame control. Like, you don't know, like when I first heard of what frame control was, I don't realize I did it a lot. So it's basically leading in a lot of ways, but someone goes, no, we'll do it this way. You'll see it in movies a lot. You'll see it in movies a lot with the main character. The main character will control the frame. And what Azam's saying is if you're with a woman that always wants to control the frame, a lot of times you'll be being pulled by the bit or the leash around. And you'll notice men, like, they'll always be, if they get in that situation where they're always in their woman's frame, they're constantly taking orders and directions. And I've witnessed that, and it's like, wow, this is like, wow, you don't get to win anything. Do you ever get a win? Do you ever get to do what you want to do? Because it's always a negotiation, but some people are always like, no, I want to do this. It's like I had someone that was working with before on a small business, and whenever you'd want to do a meeting, it'd be like, no, but here's my schedule. It would never be like you could meet me at my time or when I suggested or where I suggested. It'd always be where he wanted, when he wanted, and it would always be like, oh, I'm going to be 10 minutes late. Everything's in your frame. Everything's to favor you. A good example of this also is, I talked about this before, I was talking to another person that does coaching, not breakup coaching, but someone else that has a prominent YouTube channel. and me and him were going back and forth, and he's like, it's really hard. It was really hard to talk because we were both trying to get each other in our frame, because we're usually used to taking the lead in a conversation. And especially when you do coaching, someone wants you to lead in a lot of ways. Not everyone, by the way. This is different with everyone. So when I do coaching or when I'm a teacher, everyone has a different personality. You deal with them differently. But when me and him were talking, and then I talked, our rhythm was off. We kept over talking each other. And then I said, okay, go ahead. I'll let you talk now. And he goes, see, you just put me in your frame again. Because I just said, I'll let you speak. Instead of like, oh, what'd you have to say? Right? Everyone wants to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. Curiosity always gets the best of us, regardless how bad it might turn out. I don't know what frame controlling is. Up, Rob. Did I pass? She tried to control the situation by establishing a frame of subtle dominance. Yeah, then leave. I'd laugh or smirk and walk away as in a good one. Well, I'm not reaching out again. I'm just going to stay positive on my social media. All right, Jesse, you want to do Skype now? We can do this. Why? Are you in touch with her? No, wait, I'm sorry. I lost my place. Like Skype? Yes, I do. Okay, we can do a Skype now. I actually have this set up on my mixer now. So Coach Mac McCarthy at Skype. I don't know if that's what we used to talk before. We just do audio only, so you don't have to do video. She's establishing the frame that you are just a friend. So go on, Jesse, if you do want to talk, go on Skype. Go to Coach Mac McCarthy. My Skype will be up. She's establishing the frame that you are just a friend. Use the give me a call if it doesn't work out line. If she brings up that to a guy, chances are that the guy has no clue how to operate properly. Assuming the guy she was in a rebound with. I still, if you do want to talk on Skype, I still need to unpack what's going on. I'm a little confused by the conversation that you mentioned, that she called you a dude, and then she said he calls daddy. I'm a little lost there, to be honest. And when she reached out and said she was single, but apparently not anymore. Yeah, I call that cat pawing. I had a girl call me a loser, then called me daddy when I threw meatballs at her face. Okay. Rebounds rarely work out. Watch her actions, not what she says. A couple weeks ago, she told me she was dating herself, so this surprised me. 27. Why are you in touch with her? She is looking to settle soon. She reached out a few weeks ago and we discussed meeting up sometime, and then she had something big happen and receded. A friend of mine sent me a pic of the dude. He's gross. Yeah, I mean, your ex's new boyfriend's never going to look good to you. I don't know if you're ever going to go, oh, even if the guy's good looking, you're going to find something in his character to talk shit about. You're never going to go, oh, this guy seems like a real gem. What a nice guy. I just don't think it ends up that way usually. I think it's usually a bitter, non-objective, highly biased opinion of an individual. I'd rather not know who my ex is dating. Like I've had exes before that are seeing, so I don't want to see their picture. I'm fine. It's fine. I'm moving forward. I'm done. No, she wanted to know if she has you as a safety net. The right answer to the date is the busy. I'm Elena, Miami's finest. Why ex always comes back, although he knows I'm fine without him already. Why ex always comes back. Exes don't always come back. I think I said this yesterday. When she calls you dude, you should call her bro. You can, but I'd suggest a knockdown or a nag, as some people say it. You can say LOL, good one. You can laugh out loud, good one, and walk away. I mean, what's behind the dude thing though? I don't know. Like, was that her way of being cute? Did you guys have a history of calling each other dude? There's some innuendos there where it's like, did you guys used to call each other honey and now she's calling you dude? All right, we're almost at an hour right here. I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break. Jesse, if you do want to call in, I am on Skype, Coach Mac McCarthy. I'll unpack it with you right now. If anyone else is interested in a call in, let's do it. I'm ready. I've had my double coffee today, and that's different. So I'll be right back. Give me a minute. trying to Skype. Okay. Let's check it out here. Someone said yesterday that, give him 5. Skype would just be Coach Mac McCarthy. Someone yesterday was like, I can't find you. I can't find you. I sent my pictures up, and they found me within. So my Skype's on. Skype's on now. Or Jesse, you can tell me yours. I don't know if we talked on Skype before. We might have. Dude, I'm thinking me and you did talk on Skype before. Maybe not. Go ahead. I'm online now, bud. I'm dialed in. There you go. It's saying incoming call, but I don't hear sound. Hello? Is there a sound?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, Jesse. How are you, buddy?
Living the dream, man. I'm actually working right now, so if I leave suddenly, it's because I got a call.
All right, bud. Living the dream is a great line. I'm happy for you, bud. Come a long way. How long ago is it that me and you actually talked? Was it a few months ago?
Been a couple months. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's been a while.
Pretty fresh after the breakup.
Yeah, and you're doing a lot better now, right?
Dude, lots of things have been happening. I got merchandise and all that crap. And, oh, yeah.
Oh, if you guys want to, do you want me to mention your Instagram or your TikTok?
Hey, go for it.
What's it called? Deputy
547.
Deputy 547. So Jesse actually has a pretty big following on Instagram of 36,000. Would you be qualified as an influencer? Hello? Oh, we lost each other there.
Lost connection.
Reconnecting, it says personal connection lost. Hello? We back on?
Okay. I think I'm back.
All right, gotcha. I said you got 36,000 followers. Would you consider yourself an influencer now?
Oh, yeah, because on TikTok I got 500,000.
Jeez, man. That's really interesting. I'm not that deep into social media, but I mean, there's got to be a lot of opportunities with women through that, right?
Well, oh, yeah, of course. I mean, well, here's the main thing I'm doing is, just trying to spread positivity,
Mm-hmm.
And my merchandise, half of the merchandise proceeds goes to the Special Olympics.
Sweet.
And then I also accept donations for the autism clinic in town.
I think that's outstanding, bud. And then you've been since your breakup, did you have that following while you were in the relationship?
It was like about 100,000 whenever we were together, and then it just spiked.
Oh, it's like everyone knew you were single suddenly, huh? That probably helped things.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's talk about what happened to you today. So you texted her, and
well, let's go back just a little bit. So
sure.
Like a couple weeks ago, like at the beginning of October, she called me, and this was like 2 days after I decided to just say whatever, I'm going to move on,
Mm-hmm.
And she called me, and I wasn't expecting it, so I gave it a few hours, and I called her back, and she was upset because I still had a TikTok up of her daughter from when we were together. So I posted it when we were together, right, back in December.
Okay.
And that's a touchy subject right now. There's some court stuff going on, whatever. And she was upset about it, so I was like, okay, whatever. And she was being kind of snooty, so I just was like, you know what, I'll take it down, and I hung up on her. And I texted her afterwards, after I deleted it, and I said, hey, sorry, I didn't mean anything by it. We were together, whatever. And then she responded back kind of rudely again, and I started to respond back again politely, but she called me and she apologized. And she was like, look, sorry, I'm being this way. You don't deserve that. I just got a lot of stuff going on. And we ended up talking for like 20 minutes. She even said that I could visit her daughter sometime if I wanted to. And I was like, but I thought I was mean to her. But so at any rate, I gave it like, 4 or 5 days, and I reached out to her and said, hey, I don't think you told me when the court date was. We talked just a little bit, and then I gave it another couple days, and then we talked for like 3 days straight.
Mm-hmm.
And she even sent me like a couple pictures via text. And we had discussed like meeting up sometime, but she wasn't like setting a date or anything. And at one point she said she was dating herself, And when she reached out, some of my friends, because I'm blocked on everything, some of my friends said, "Well, it says she's single now," because apparently back in July she got in a relationship, but there was nothing on there, like no pictures of this dude. His name wasn't on there or anything, right? So anyways, she ended up making the comment that she was dating herself.
How long ago? Let me just get a time stamp. Like, how long ago was this?
How long ago did we reach out or talk?
Yeah, because I know that it's been a few months since you actually broke up, and they don't know your whole breakup story, but I know the end. Okay, I have a really good memory.
We broke up back in April 23rd.
Okay.
And I did all the wrong things.
I know.
For like the first couple of weeks. And then I found you guys. And so then, we had a couple reach outs during the no contact, but they weren't ever good.
And so this time that she said she was dating herself and you've reconnected, this is a month ago, 2 weeks ago?
This was about 2 weeks ago, because she first reached out on October 1st. And then so this is like a week or two after that.
Okay, so let me interject. So prior to October 1st, she reached out to you. How long had it been since you guys talked and she reached out to you randomly?
Her reaching out to me randomly was on Father's Day, when she was upset that I had posted a new TikTok that briefly featured her daughter in it. And nobody could tell it was her except for her, but she was upset about it. So that was back on Father's Day, so like in June. And then in August, at the beginning of August, I drove down and dropped some stuff off of hers at her.
Maybe it's just the connection for a moment. Okay, it's just the connection. Sometimes, some places it doesn't.
Shit.
You're back.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah. So you dropped off some stuff in August, but what I'm saying is, so October 1st when she reached out, that was kind of the first time she reached out in a positive way. That was kind of like just hey.
Well, yeah, and it wasn't positive at first, but then she called back and apologized, which is obviously a big step considering I hadn't gotten anything even close to that over the last 6 months.
Yes. It is because I know your story and I remember it well, and she seemed like a stubborn individual that was very upset with you. So for her to call you back and say sorry does say something. So October 1st, let's just go from there because that's the most recent. When she reached out, was it through text or phone, and then what was it regarding specifically?
She called me and said, "Hey, this is." Give me a call when you get a chance. Bye. And I had a couple of my friends listen to it. And I was like, does this sound like she's angry? And they're like, no, it sounds like she's nervous or something. And I was like, huh. So I called her and she's like, hey, you still have a TikTok up of my daughter and I want you to take it down. And I was like, oh, my bad. We were together. So, and she's like, yeah, that's my daughter. So you need to take it down. I was like, okay,
that's
taking
fair.
It down. And then I think I hung up the phone.
And, that was the October 1st
and then
one.
I messaged her.
That was October 1st.
Yeah,
okay.
And then I messaged her after I took it down and explained I took it down and just apologized again, said I hope they're both doing okay. And she's like, yeah, well, it's about time you took it down or whatever. And I started to respond back with something nice, but she interrupted my text by calling me. And she's like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm being a bitch right now. You don't deserve that. I'm just kind of going through some stuff right now. And we started talking, and I kind of gave her just a little brief update on my life and how things were going. And she said, okay, she's like, well, if you wanted to see Charlie sometime, we could do that. And I was like, okay, so then we left it at that. I didn't talk to her for a few days. And then I reached out and said, hey, I don't think you told me when your court date was, because that's an issue that's going on. And she told me, and then she told me about some medical stuff she's going through. And I was just like, hey, that sucks. Sorry. And I said, I think I mentioned maybe meeting up at some point, and she said, we'd see or something. But then I left it alone after she didn't answer me. I didn't text her again. And then I gave it a few more days, and then I texted her, and we ended up talking for like 3 days. But what was interesting was that first day we talked, she stopped answering me at 8 o'clock at night, and I didn't text her back. I was just figured that was the end of it. And then she texted me the next day was just something random to start a conversation. And so I was like, all right. and we talked about meeting up again. And she said she had some doctor's appointments, but she would see and let me know. But then the court date happened, and she receded. And I messaged her on the court date and just said, "Hey, good luck." She said, "Thanks." After a few days, I messaged her and asked her how, just, "Hey, just was thinking about you randomly. Hope you're doing okay," or something to that effect. And we talked just briefly, whatever. But anyways, last night I reached out, and I felt kind of stupid for doing so, because I was like, man, I should have waited. But then we had a decent conversation today. It was going okay. And then she called me dude, and I said, "Wait a second, did you just call me dude?" And I said, or she's like, "Yeah, and I was like, you don't get to call somebody you had sex with dude, just kind of joking around, whatever." And then she said, because her and I are both cops now, she said, "I am the law, so therefore I do what I want, bro." And I said, "Well, then I'm on my way to enforce it," or something to that effect. And she said, "Yeah, no," and then said this dude's name, which I'd never heard before.
Oh, she gave you another guy's name.
As far as I knew, she said that she was dating herself. She brought his name up and said that he prefers to be called dude or bro. And I joked back and said, that's an awkward pet name. Some people don't appreciate the finer pet names, I guess. And she responded back with that he doesn't need a finer pet name with his fine ass. And they agreed that dude and bro was better than calling him daddy in public.
Okay. Well, let me just say this. It's curtains. It's curtains for a while. I would leave this alone, because this kind of game, you're getting entangled into a little web here, and she's being manipulative a bit. And I believe that every time interactions that you have, let's just ask you this: when you get off the phone, or if you're texting or talking, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel? Do you feel like 0 being shit and 10 being outstanding? These interactions.
I'd probably say about like a 3 or 4.
Okay, so stop interacting with her then, because what she's doing is you're being very nice and kind, and that was playful, like you said, like, "Oh, you called me a dude. We used to sleep." Like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's banter and stuff. But then she's flipping it into something mean. She doesn't have to go, and someone that talks to their.
See, and that's what I said. I was like, "There's no reason for her to get that way, unless she's like trying to rub it in my face." And so I just responded back with, "LOL. Well, I guess that explains it. Good idea."
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the beauty of it. You got your clarity of where she stands. A lot of times during no contact, you obviously still have feelings for her. So there's something there still, right? Even months later. This is why you're engaging in these conversations with her.
Right.
You still would like to. There's still a part of you that wants to get back with her.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'd still get back with her. I mean, that one's gonna be kind of hard for her to backpedal from. But
yeah, I just feel like she knows that your feelings are so strong that Elena, who's in the chat right now, and I'm not gonna say like she speaks for me, but she made a good point. Right now, she said that she's in the times that she's reaching out, it seems like she's lonely, and you're giving her a boost.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely picked up on that. Like, especially after today, I was like, she used me.
But and here, let me rewind, so you just don't feel so battered or bad about it. She probably doesn't even realize she's doing it. It's not even intentional. It's probably just subconscious. But this individual, and you've told me some things deeper about her background. We're not going to share that on the live stream, because that's something that goes into live coaching, and that's the benefit of live coaching, is we share that. But I think that this is situations, even if let's just say everything went right, and she goes, "Oh my God, I've missed you so much. Come over right now," and you guys get back together, and it's back to where you left off. You're still going to have an up and down individual that's not stable and doesn't really know what she wants, and like she keeps when Azam said about the frame thing, she's actually controlling the situation. It's like, well, dude means this to me. Dude mean, like, she's gonna always never give in to you. And so it's going to be really tough for you to get back in the position. I'm just wondering, because you don't have to go into details. You were so close to her daughter in a genuine, loving way. Is that part of what you're missing?
Well, it is, but it's not.
Okay.
Because I think, my ex, we've talked about it. She's went through the ringer. And I understand that she's got shit she's got to work through and stuff, and I'm working through my stuff. Like, I'm obviously a lot better than what I was, but, because, a couple months ago, that would have thrown me through the ringer. But, at this point, it's like, look, I know, that I've got all this positive stuff going on. This is a minor setback for right now. And,
good.
I decided that I'm just going to take a step back, and it's her turn to reach out again, because, well, honestly, they said that she was, like, her Facebook showed she was in a relationship, but there was no other details beyond that, right? Well, then when she reached out, apparently it said single, and she said she was dating herself. Well, now she's bringing up this guy, and it's like, okay, I'm assuming this is the same dude. I don't think this is just some random dude. And obviously their relationship is already on the rocks. So it's like, I mean, it's just going to fall apart anyways.
Let's reverse this and get a read on your values, not her values. If you were in a reverse situation and you were seeing someone and you were in a conversation, would you do the same thing to her and say, oh yeah, well, I've been seeing this fine ass.
No.
So why I'm asking that is that just means that you have different values and different ways of communication, and she's going into a low place, and then I venture to say deep down she's got it. She's trying to get your attention, and it's going for the kneecaps. It's just not fair. And so like I said, if you guys have the interactions that you've had since you've broken up, not one of them have insinuated that she really wants to get back together, because you have asked her out. You have been kind of nice and neutral. In the beginning, you were in the initial breakup of those 2 weeks, you were being extremely needy and over the top and overcompensating. In these interactions since, you've been neutral, and you've been able to accept, okay, she doesn't want to go out with me. Okay, she doesn't, like, you're a little less valuing every word she says. Now she hits you with one of these, and you're like, oh, that was a shot to the nuts. Really, it should, in my mind, what would really serve you is go, okay, now I know a little bit more about your character. This is where you stand right now. And at what point are you done?
Right. Well, what I decided is, is like, I'm going to focus on trying to move on now.
Okay.
And I mean, if she reaches out and I'm not, and I haven't yet, then we'll approach that idea. But as of right now, it's just, obviously she wants to see what's going on with this dude, or, I mean, it could be a number of different things. She's trying to defend her decision, or she's trying to make me jealous, or she just really doesn't care, whatever. I mean, it could be anything. But it does show, obviously lack of interest, because if she was interested, she wouldn't even brought up that dude. So, and here's the thing. I've been doing a lot of self work, and I've been staying away from, going around sleeping around with people. But I have these girls that are honestly model status that I never thought I would, in my life would get with. But I've been changing my attitude and how I present myself and working on this. And it's like all these other people can see it and feel it. And it's like, yeah. So I got options out there. I'm not worried about it, and I got big things on the horizon, that I'm going to start putting moves into place to get there. And I mean, big things could be happening for me. So I'm not that down about it. It sucks because I started to get my hopes up, because the fact that we went 6 months, no contact, and then she's been answering me and even being how are you or whatever, responding back and inquiring about me. So I was like, all right, here we go. And then boom. And I'm like, okay. Or, who knows? I mean, that guy could have been sitting right next to her and that's why she acted that way. Who knows? I have no idea, but it's going to be her balls in her court now. Cause I am the prize at this point in time, and I'm not going to act any different. So
good for you, man. I'm happy that you're in a place like this. You're much improved than the first time we talked, and you've done a lot of things. And the fact that your social media is at the level it's at, you're, like I said, you should explore those options. And the fact that you're donating money from the merchandise that you get is absolutely fucking impressive, dude. It's admirable. I'm very happy that you're doing that, and I think that's really cool. And that's kind of one of those one of those things that you have control over too. This is what I noticed about what you're just saying is she could be doing this, she could be doing that, she could be saying this, and this has gotten caught in your imagination. Like, what is she thinking? Is she seeing this guy? And this is where that whirlwind comes from. And at some point, let her go and go all in on being single again. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and that's, right before, it's weird because I've been like listening to like Earl Nightingale and Napoleon Hill and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm all like, you know what? I've been putting a lot of good in the universe, and so far a lot of good things have been happening to me, right? So I'm like, hell yeah.
It's not by accident.
Just keeping that positive mindset, focusing on me. And then she reached out, and I was like, oh my God, the universe is like, haha. And now I'm like, well, shit. But it's, I'm going to get what I put into the, the universe, whatever. And, I'm trying to keep everything positive. And I'm honestly, thinking about becoming a certified coach at some point as well.
Sweet.
So, yeah. So
cool,
that's
man.
going to be, yeah. So hopefully I can do that. And then eventually, who knows, maybe I could do that full time. Wouldn't even have to do this other job, which sucks.
Okay. What kind of coach? Like a breakup coach, or what kind of coach?
Yeah, probably just like relationships, trying to figure out, what your ex is doing and stuff. Which I found, I've been giving, people just side advice, be like, hey, this is stuff I've heard and learned since I've been going through this, so maybe you should try that. And a lot of people, in my TikToks and stuff, they've been trying it, and they're like, hey, this stuff's working. And I'm like, yeah, I told you. But it's different when it's you, because I'm emotionally evolved. And you know what I mean? You have to remove the emotions from it. And it's hard to do when it's you. So and I've heard this from other coaches and stuff before, is some of them have their own coaches, because it's sometimes it's hard to separate it. So I don't feel so bad about it, that I'm struggling with my own stuff, but I'm emotionally invested in it. So,
well, as long as you're, I mean, it's funny because I think it was you. I've had other people do this before where I'm not going to say who it was or what it was, but before me and you talked, you're like, oh my God, talking to you is way better. I called this didn't you call some other person before, or some other group for breakups?
Dude, I've talked like whenever.
I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. That's not my style, but you were like, oh God, this is so much better. I really appreciate it. I get that a lot.
Yeah, man, you give it to me straight. You're like, don't be a bitch. And I was like, oh man, you hurt my feelings, but you're right.
Yeah, no, we had a good conversation a couple of times, and it's because when you say you want to be a coach and stuff, I think you'd be good at it. You're very empathetic, and you care a lot, and I just think there's different approaches for different people, but there is a lot of, I get a lot of people that talk to other people, and they're like, oh, they just give, one of the comments someone told me was, they went to another coach, and they said they just gave very surface advice, meaning stuff you could find on YouTube, right? Like, it's very easy for someone to say, oh, just stay in no contact. But when we talk in a live coaching, you could say the same thing. I'm going to explain why you should, or if you don't want to do that. We go through the options. It's not like I just go, hey man, I think you should stay in no contact. I mean, this is the only option you have. Like, you need to find the reason that you're doing it, or why you're going against not doing it, and that's what needs to be.
Well, and there was one service I used that I like using them, because they were like, okay, this is our plan, but for right now, we need to talk about you. How does that make you feel, and stuff. And what you need to do is identify, are you feeling grief? Are you feeling anxiety? And, you got to kind of pinpoint what those are, and what, and then try and, work on fixing those and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So like today, I mean, whenever she sent that, I mean, immediately hit with the anxiety, like, oh wow, punch to the stomach, like that came out of nowhere, and because the conversation was going good, and I was like, haha, and then she brought up him, and I was like, but I didn't let it bother me for too long, because then whenever I calmed down and I just, instead of reacting to it, I mentally was responding to it. I was like, it could have been any number of things, and like I said, we broke up at the end of April, and apparently she was in a relationship by July, and they already broke up by October, like the beginning of October. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not putting too much stock in that. And then somebody sent me a picture of the dude, and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, just nasty looking dude. I mean, I don't know anything about him, but I mean, you know, you look at him, you look at me. It's like, okay, I mean,
Good for
I'm
you.
not fucking Channing Tatum over here, but
Do you? So one person has a couple questions on the live stream. Do you mind if I give that question to you? Because she, Rita Rose, she asked, "Do you have kids?" You don't have kids, right, Jesse?
no, I don't.
And she
Personally,
said,
no.
"Why empathize for her? Who gives you a break or understanding?"
Oh no. I mean, she's 100% right. You know, the research I've done, you know, because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know anything about all this other subconscious stuff or whatever, is, you know,
Mm.
she's obviously like a fearful avoidant.
Mm-hmm.
So when she got triggered whenever we broke up, she did the hard shutdown. She didn't want me in
Mm.
at all and was just cold. And I mean, I was doing wrong things too, you know, by going around the block, you know, showing up at her house and whatnot, which I did one time, never did it again because that was awful.
I remember.
But with knowledge comes compassion, and
Ah.
I've been doing this learning of, you know, kind of what maybe subconsciously she's going through, and I know for a fact the kind of abuse and trauma that she was in, because you know she was in a relationship before,
I
that was
remember.
very abusive,
I remember.
and I mean stuff that nobody should ever have to go through. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of able to empathize with that a little bit.
Mm.
Is what she's doing to me okay? I mean, it's not. I mean, she's an adult,
Mm-hmm.
but and, you know, and I don't deserve that because I've been nothing but polite to her, and I've not said a cross word about her to anybody since we broke up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but right now with her, it's not the time to address it. It would be like if we were to like maybe rekindle something, or if she was to really step over the line, then I'd be like, you know what, no, I ain't gonna do that. But you know, at this point in time, it's just kind of like, well, it's kind of like chess at this point, I guess. So,
Mm. So you're back
but
to no contact after that conversation.
oh yeah,
All
yeah.
over
I mean,
again.
and like I said, you know, my plan is, you know, I'm gonna go on my social media, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
keep posting positive stuff. That didn't bother me,
Mm-hmm.
and which, you know, obviously initially it did, but I'm still at the same spot I was like a month ago. So what has changed? Nothing. I mean, she
Good.
reached out, she was polite, and now we're back here. So
Well, the nice thing is this time it hurt you, but it didn't elongate to something that you're just, you know what I mean? You're dealing with it already by coming on here and talking about it a little bit and making a little bit of a joke that it was metaphorically a kick to the nuts, and you're
oh yeah.
you're still okay. And at this point, yeah, like you can kind of look at it and you're like, I'm in such a better place. And it's led to, what's interesting is it's led to so much that you've gone down this rabbit hole. Like you said, we don't need to go into all the psychology and the subconscious and all those things. But I remember when I first got into, I always had like an interest in psychology when I was in my early 20s and in college and stuff, but I never explored it. And then like when you get into that, it's like there's so much information and like you're like, I've heard of the word subconscious, but I didn't really know what it meant. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Well, and you know, all this stuff, you know, I didn't know like this is stuff that's introduced when you're kids, and then I learned about my attachment style and stuff. And I'm like, well, that makes sense considering, you know, how my life started and all that, and you know, and that's why I'm doing the things I'm doing. It makes sense. But yeah, just learning about all this stuff, and you know, especially no contact. I mean, just the science behind it and whatever, and then you know, I mean, it obviously worked, you know what I mean? Like, cause I wasn't reaching out. And then my thing also was when she reached out to, you know, get mad at me about the TikTok that was up there,
Mm-hmm.
that thing was posted in December of last year. And you know how many videos I posted since then? I mean, somebody would have had to dig for that one. You know, they would have had to went and looked for it.
It was to interject though. It's a fair thing that someone doesn't want their child, whether their child's face was
Oh,
on there or
right.
not. Like it's a completely honest thing to be upset about and want to be taken down. So I'm saying I think you could understand that. So like if she called you specifically for that reason, gave you a hard time, even if it was old, it's her kid, and some people don't want their kids on something like that. I completely understand.
Yeah, and I wasn't mad at her for that. You know, my thing was how she was handling it. You know, instead of just being like, hey, you know, you need to take that down, please. I've been like, oh, okay, that's fine. And she'd be like, okay, thank you. Boom, done. But it was like, she was like, that's my daughter, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, calm down. Like, obviously, I didn't know it was a big deal because it's been up here for how long now,
Mm-hmm.
but I will take it down, you
Yeah.
know? And
The approach could just be like,
So-
no problem, I'll take it down. I mean, I would say in your interactions in the future, if she reaches out to you again, it seems like you've done a lot of research since we've talked, and you're a different person, but I would keep it very short and very curt and very to the point and very neutral, because it seems like anytime she gets a little bit of a knowledge that you're being sweet or kind, she's twisting it a little bit. She's catpawing the situation. And at this point, I think she needs to be fully challenged, because the times that she has reached out, she's immediately realized that you still have feelings or you want to interact with her. And so, and she's proven that the times that she has reached out, that she doesn't mean business in the sense that I want to see you, I miss you, because you've gone, look, let's see each other. Well, I have a doctor's appointment. If she really, really wants to see you, she will. And
yeah.
and you're in a good place though overall, because like I said, I mean, you're a social media celebrity right now. That's pretty cool. I don't think I know anyone with this much social media pull.
Here's what I thought was curious,
Mhm.
but yeah, no, dude. I mean, honestly, if I sent you screenshots of some of the girls that have tried to hit me up and stuff, like,
So wait, let me interject. Let me interject, please. What's holding you back from these, from fully going full bore on, taking advantage of these? I shouldn't say taking advantage of these women, taking advantage of these opportunities to go out with these women that are. I don't doubt it. I mean, 36,000 followers. You're a young man. You're in your late 20s. I mean, why not? So what's holding you back from exploring that, or have you and you haven't had as good experiences? Are you still waiting on this ex?
Originally it was because I was still way wrapped up in her, and then I decided to move on. I mean, have I flirted around a little bit? Well, I mean, yeah, but and I've went out with a couple of them, but as far as like, entertaining like a relationship or anything, none of them have really like struck that chord with me, where it's like, yeah, you're cute and you're nice, but there's just something not there. I don't know what it is, but, there's plenty more out there, and
Keep
I like
dating,
it. It allows me to see that, I've got all these other opportunities,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, start going out on more of those dates. I mean, here's the crazy thing. This might sound counterintuitive, and you might have already heard this, but if she hears that you're going out with someone that's a catch or hot or exploring these things, or one of her friends sees you around with someone, she obviously knows that you get a lot of attention on social media, but then she's going to be, women want to date men that other women want to fuck.
Yeah. No,
And
you're
so,
right.
so you're already in that case. But I mean, like, you taking advantage of the opportunities. I mean, go for it. I mean, at this point, she's told you where she stands, and she's not only reached out and been a little bit vindictive and a little bit sideways in some of her responses, but now this last interaction, you should, at some point, you should kind of go, you know what? Yeah, no, we're not going to interact like this again. It was fun to talk to you. It's good and everything like that. But then to throw in my face this kind of crap, no.
Here's kind of what confused me about it. So when we broke up, she said, made all these accusations. I've told you about them. That I was running around, I was mean to her kid, and all this stuff, right? But she reached out, said that I could meet up with her daughter sometime. You know what I mean? We could schedule that. Okay. She was up for meeting up with me sometime. She was at least considering it,
Mm-hmm.
And we have had conversations and whatnot. Why answer me and talk to me if all of that stuff in the past that you accused me of was true? Because it wasn't, and she knows it. But again, now, if you're back with this dude, why answer me and respond to me? And you know what I mean? Like,
she likes the attention.
Without talking to me, no problem.
She likes the attention, and women are more moment to moment. They're more emotional. They're not as much as they can be dug in. Like she was dug in when you broke up. What I mean by that, like, she's not going to change in 2 weeks or 3 weeks her decision to break up with you, no matter what you do, what have you. In a month, 2 months, 3 months, on a lonely night, she could say, like, I wonder what Jesse's up to. Doesn't mean she wants to get back with you. So, like the thing that I'm seeing, though, that happens a lot, is that you start explaining yourself about something you already know is not true. And so when you're saying like, I know I was good with her daughter, I know I was this, I know I had good intentions, I know I had this, the minute you start explaining all that, it's almost the better approach is like, I don't even need to respond to that because you know the answer to that. It's like, so this happens a lot because a lot of men that are good guys that consider themselves good people, good human beings, when someone accuses them of something, even if it's not true. And Philip, if you're still on here, who was on the live stream I've done coaching with, he had the same issue. He kept backpedaling and explaining himself. I'm like, Philip, is that true what she's saying? No, it's not true. That's why I keep having to tell her. She knows it's not true. She knows you were great with her daughter, Jesse. She knows that. So, I mean, she's just using a bait to get you upset and kind of control the situation. That's not fair. That's not good communication. It should be,
No, it's not,
and that's
man.
why she came back to you and said, "I'm sorry," because she knows, like she's frustrated right now. It's a bad way to communicate. It's a really bad way to communicate, and I don't know if that kind of communication is gonna end because you told me that she's got, and this is a little deeper because we're not going to go into this because this is part of the coaching, but she's got some issues with, like her past, but also her family and her sister and different things like that. And that all contributes to the way people communicate with people they care about. And so that's what really gets lost is you can have a really good connection with someone, but when you see their interactions with their family members and people close to them, if they're faulty, even though it's not their fault, they filter for that shit. And so those kinds of things will come out later on in the relationship. And now she's in a situation where it sounds to me like she's still interested in you. She still has feelings, but she still wants to, she doesn't want to commit back to you fully. And she just likes attention right now. So I would keep moving.
And that was my thing was, her response, it's the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. And her response was not indifferent. It was full on, I'm going to punch you in the nuts right now. And it's like, okay. And so that's why I responded back the way I did. Well, good idea. And, it's like I tried to let it just seem like it rolled off my shoulders. I don't know if she took it that way or not. But, my thing is like I wasn't really trying to explain myself because I know how I was in the relationship. I made my own mistakes and whatnot. But my thing is she knows it's bullshit. Then why doesn't she come back? You know what I mean? Like, that was my thing. That's the whole big question I've had since she reached out to me was, okay, you obviously know it's crap. Where the hell are you? And I know I wouldn't be able to fix her. I wouldn't be able to change her. But one thing I heard from somebody was, if you're, secure in your relationship and you got a secure attachment style, whatever, and you keep doing that, then your partner is going to want to start emulating you. And, so it's like fixing without fixing, you know what I mean? Like, kind of just.
But you still would have to get her out of the environment she's in now.
Which she did move out on her own. And that's another thing. She didn't want me to know where she lived or anything.
Well, that's big.
But one of the pictures she sent me in the text message had the location on. So like, I know she still lives in the same town. And, there's a picture of her. And like, I was like, wow, that's a big step, like you didn't have to send me that picture. You were talking about your cat and you sent me a picture of two pictures of your cat and then a picture of you with the cat with the location on it. Like, I mean, I don't think that there was anything meant by it, but it's still like, you don't want me to know where you're at, but that's right there. So.
I got you. I see what you're saying. I mean, but at some point you're going to start over with no contact. And I would say at this point, any future interactions, now that her child's off your TikTok and there's no reason to call, you returned, I believe it was a blanket of some sort, if I have that good a memory.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
It's good memory, huh? And then you like you returned the item that was bothering you before, I remember in the talk. So now you have no entanglements or reasons to talk to each other. And the last time you talked to her, she left it on a pretty low note on your end. And so I would leave it alone and I wouldn't entertain it unless she calls you and she wants to maybe meet up. But to be honest with you, and this is easy for me to be objective because I don't have feelings involved, I would explore being single, take advantage of your opportunities with social media and go all in on being single again. And
so she reached out, but I was all, I was ready to move on, and then she reached out. So I was aware, like, this doesn't mean anything yet. I'm still single. She could be doing whoever, whatever, who knows.
Mhm.
So during this time, I have not stopped, doing what I've been doing. So, like, this last weekend, I was in a wedding, right? I was the best man. What happens usually at weddings when you get all drunk and excited and stuff, right? So it's
I
like,
know.
I'm out there, I'm doing my thing, I'm whatever. But, I tried not to put all my eggs in this basket because there was no guarantee. And I'm just going to continue to do that and just see if something happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't, whatever.
Oh no, it will. Jesse, if you go all in on being single and you take advantage of these opportunities of some of these attractive women, and you go, you know what, I'm going to go on bad dates. I'm going to go out with women that don't match up well with me, and I'm going to see what happens. Because there was just a guy on yesterday that totally different situation than yours, but he was like, it took him 3 years to find a really good match, and in between that time, he had a 1-year relationship that ended and whatnot. It's not easy to find someone that's going to be like your future girlfriend or partner. But in the meantime, dude, you're 28? 28?
Yeah.
28. Have some fucking fun, man. Embrace being single and the fact that you got these followers and these different things and you're doing these good things, and give yourself a fucking pat on the back. Because this woman's not gonna make life better for you. Honestly, if I'm gonna be fucking honest with you, I think if you got back together, even if it started out really good, it would still matriculate into the same situation again, because she has quick triggers, and the way things ended before, it wasn't completely fair to you, and the things that were thrown out there weren't fair to you. And so I would say that even if you got back together, I don't know if it's going to be a good long-term thing anyways. So give yourself the opportunity with all these good things that you're doing, these changes that you've made, this knowledge that you've picked up, which is outstanding. Because a lot of times, like we just said, I didn't start exploring this stuff till my late 20s, and I had a bad breakup. In my early 20s, I was just on autopilot, just going like, oh, she's pretty, she's not pretty, we date. You don't even know what you're doing. And then when you start to realize some of this stuff and explore it, it gets more interesting. Like when you go out on dates now and you got yourself like a little toolkit and a little understanding of what's going on, and some girls playing games with you or shit testing you, and you kind of know what's going on, it's a lot more fun. Because they're like, wait a minute.
It is actually, and I've been kind of using it, and like
it's totally
I'm like,
different.
Okay, all right, I know what's going on, and like I said, I got this whole new vibe, I guess, and these people are starting to see it, and I'm getting these, like I said, these girls that are like, but I'm also on the flip side, I'm able to see like, okay, this one would be a problem, like this one's got some issues,
Exactly.
You might not know it, but I know it's coming. So I'm going to stay away from that one.
Exactly. You're in a much better position.
Going back to my ex, though, is, people are like, why have you held on, so long? And I was like, I love her. I really do. But, I was talking to this one guy, and he was like a behavioral therapist.
Okay.
And he was talking, and he said, she's never going to find somebody and find a healthy relationship and get one that sticks until she works on herself. And honestly, when he told me that, I started, I teared up, and I was like, because I felt bad for her. I was like, I think she's amazing. Like, she really is an amazing person. Obviously, she has her issues, but who doesn't? But like, honestly, I mean, she cares about people, and she's got this really amazing personality and whatnot. And I was just like, it sucks that she's gonna have to go through that, And I think that really shows that, I really do care about her, because, it wasn't that she wasn't going to be with me, is that she wasn't going to have anybody. What
if really
bothered me?
Let me interject for a moment. What if I told you that the only way that's going to happen is probably without you? Then that's just what's going to happen. Then. I'm saying that the only way that she's going to work on herself and get to a place, because you're such a good guy, and you're good at helping her put out some fires and accepting some things about her that aren't acceptable in some ways. Some of the things that she said to you during the relationship or accused you of weren't fair, and you took it on the chin. That's not going to help her improve. And so if she's going to improve, it's probably going to be on her own pace at her own time, because you're at different places right now. You're at a place right now where you actually what you did? You did what I call an honest self-report of yourself. You took an honest self-analysis of who you are right now. And when we were in the live coaching, you were able to not get your feelings hurt when I talked to you and go, okay, I'll listen to that book. Okay, this and that. And then you're at a point right now where you're working on yourself and you're seeing where you could improve and different things. I don't know if she's there. And the problem with that is when someone's around someone else, and I have to deal with this being a coach, right? Because I have to turn off the coaching hat with friends and family. And there's sometimes like, I don't want you to coach me, Mac. I just want you to listen, right? Is that you're going to be making suggestions and ideas based on your learnings of psychology and subconscious and avoiding attachment. And she's going to be like covering her ears. Like, where did you come from? So like, what I would say though is with your vast pool of people and the fact that you're doing something with charity work, right? If you can get involved in some charity work hands-on in some places, I think that's where you're going to meet a woman that lines up with you really well. Because and that's going to come, and they're going to take notice on the fact that you've done this charitable type of work. Like I said, if you can do that maybe in person at some charities or get involved like that, but I think that's going to be someone in the future that would line up better with you. Not someone that you have to fix, but someone that wants to help you fix others. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it seems that I've been connecting more with girls here lately that are interested in. Like mental health,
yes,
and like helping people out. And
yes,
things. We've been vibing a lot more than other people. Like this, like my wedding date. She's a deputy as well from a different state.
Mm-hmm.
She came, go to a wedding with me, and she's all about helping people with suicidal thoughts and just different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we connect and she's aware of Camille and all that. It's something that has been discussed before. Whatever,
mm-hmm.
but. And I know that's, a lady boner killer, but, it's just one of those things. It's like, hey, I'm just honest and upfront, if it gets approached, I'm honest and upfront about it. Like if they're like, how was your last relationship? Well, this happened. Well, what if she came back? Well, if you and I were not something serious, I would probably take her back, honestly. So, but
that's a choice. It's a choice. It's
a
choice.
But, if I was to find somebody that I clicked with, just like on all levels and whatnot, I doubt that I would approach it that way. I would just be like, yeah, let's figure out what's, I'm not talking about her. I don't want to talk about that,
mm-hmm.
at this point in time, this is, just kind of give a brief synopsis. It was a bad breakup, I did self-work and whatnot and move on. So
mm-hmm. This has been a good situation for you. I can see you. Even in this situation right now where you're unpacking and you're being honest with yourself, you're getting better and better. And it's only going to get better and better. And like I said, maybe come back to that, what I just said, though. The next person should be someone that's with you hand in hand and wanting to help fix people and be part of what you're doing with your charitable stuff rather than someone that you're actually trying to fix or enable. And I don't think your ex is there yet with some of her behaviors. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad guy or that you're not caring and compassionate. It's just timing. It's just timing.
Well, and
timing's huge.
Somebody told me today, they're like, you're out of her league. And I said, yeah, you're right. At this point in time, her and I are in two different levels. But I told him, I said, part of me wishes that I wasn't, but then there's that big part of me that's like, I'm glad I'm here because I'm going to know for future reference, if like, let's say her and I did get back together sometime down the road,
mm-hmm.
And she wanted to pull this stuff and be all like that, I would approach it completely differently
mm-hmm.
than I had before. And, just be like, she's like, I don't want to be with you anymore. It's like, okay, well, I disagree, but that's your decision. So, take care. And I hope the best for you, which is, I know in the time, your emotions are high and it's going to suck, but
mm-hmm.
that's what you have to do. Because that's the best thing you can do and the only thing you can do. So
mm-hmm. Acceptance is key. Well, you're going to be in a good place. Let's stay in contact. And I'm interested to see where you're at in the future. And I really appreciate you calling in and sharing this. And I'll put in if you want me to put your Instagram's Deputy 507.
547.
Excuse me, 547. Deputy 547, and you're selling some gear, I believe, some beanies.
Yeah, got hoodies and T-shirts, beanies.
And half of the money goes to. I'm sorry, so I don't get it wrong. Half of the money goes to what?
It goes to the Law Enforcement Torch Run of Missouri,
mm-hmm.
which is for the Special Olympics.
Okay.
And then I have a link tree in my bio, and people can donate to the autism clinic here in town. So
sweet, man. I think that's above all, that's extremely admirable. And the fact that you're doing something like this is one of those things I suggest to a lot of people, not just yourself, but when they're really, really obsessed. And I'm not saying that you're at the point of obsession right now, but they're really obsessed. I'm like, you think you're obsessed with your ex, but you're actually obsessed with what you don't have and what you really want. And it's a little bit selfish, and you get consumed by it. And the reality is, humans at their best are when we're doing things for other people. It's like, I've been a teacher for years. I've been doing the breakup coaching. I'm not a perfect person. I'm no saint in my life. I have problems too. I do bad things sometimes, but I do feel really good about helping people. And I think that this money that you're raising and whatnot is only going to serve you moving forward. And the fact that you want to be maybe a coach in the future, I think that's really cool. I think that's really cool, because then you can be the person to help yourself.
And my followers are great, man. I mean, like, you know, I never see the money that goes to the Special Olympics. You know, I get my portion, but I never see the other half. But the autism stuff, you know, is donated to like my Venmo and stuff, and then I write the check out. And I mean, I wrote a $1,400 check the other day.
Sweet.
You know, like,
sweet.
And, you know, I started doing the social media thing, and I realized I have this large social media platform.
Mm-hmm.
I can do good.
Yes.
You know, for my community. And so, and then that's also part of my decision, you know, to become a certified life coach or relationship coach, is because, you know, they're like a light in the dark for people that feel lost.
Yes.
And they, you know, just having somebody that they can, like you call it, unpacking it, and, you know, somebody that's unbiased and is going to kind of give them tips, tricks, or whatever on, you know, how to maybe reverse the situation. And, you know, and I've always said I wanted to help people. And, you know, I mean, law enforcement has its ups and downs and stuff, but, you know, if I can help people in this way too, you know, without having to worry about getting shot, I mean, hey, why not, you know?
Yeah, it seems like a good alternative. I mean, I would say this, what you're doing right now, I mean, I have a lot of respect for you, man. I have a lot of respect for you with what's going on in the States and whatnot, and being an officer and whatnot. I do respect that a lot. I've even emailed you before, like, how you doing right now? You okay? I mean, because I have a few people that are law enforcement officers. My sister was a 911 dispatcher, and I have a lot of respect for you guys and what you do. And certainly there's some bad cops out there, but I wouldn't say it applies to everyone. That's grossly over applied in some cases.
Oh yeah.
So,
you know, and without getting into it,
no, we're not going to get into
some out there. It's not as prevalent as what people think. So.
No. We need more like you, and I'm appreciative that you called in, and maybe we'll do this again, and maybe we'll do something with Instagram or something like that. Maybe you'll give me a shout out, and maybe you can help me with that a little bit, and I can help you with the coaching.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
Sounds good.
Like there's another guy, and, you know, he's a relationship coach.
Uh-huh.
I had actually hired him, you know, a couple times, and we talked,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were texting one day, and he's like, "I'm firing you as a client," and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "You know, I don't charge my friends." I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hell yeah, man!" You know, and so, you know, he's got a TikTok too, you know, and I've been, you know, trying to give him shout outs and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just. You know, if I can help you guys out in any way, shape, form, you know, the way you guys have helped me out, I mean, obviously I'm going to do it.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, you know, who knows? Maybe in a couple more months, you know, we can meet back up here on YouTube, and maybe things will be different. Maybe it'll be, you know, we'll see.
Well, they're different from when I first talked to you, right? So there's an improvement.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not at the top of the mountain,
like
but you're getting up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing this for a few years now, and the really interesting thing is when people will send me an email and they're like, "I'm getting married." It took me a couple, and here's the interesting thing: is every breakup's different. I talk about that. Maybe that's a broken record for hearing me say that, but it's so true, because there's so many one-size-fit-all recipes on YouTube. Like, if you do this, this, and this, it'll work. It's not really like that. But the time that people meet a new serious partner, it fucking takes time. It's not Hollywood. It's not the movies that you just run into someone in 3 or 6 months. It can happen, but, you know, usually it's a couple years or a year and a half or something like that, or a good year. And I think that's going to be the case with you. And once that happens, this is going to be a lesson of your past, and it's not going to carry too much weight other than being a moment and a chapter in your life that was a good learning lesson. So I think that's I think that's what's going to happen
exactly.
for you.
You know, And, honestly, the biggest thing I learned is that you have no control of anything other than yourself in the present moment. So like if there's something that you can't control, I can't control how she's going to respond to me. I wasn't able to control that she was going to say that, and or how she was going to receive what I was telling her. And so that's why I just got to let it roll off my shoulders, because what's the point of worrying about it? So
neutralize
biggest
it.
lesson I learned is let go of the control.
Yes, that's a good lesson. All right, we're gonna stay in contact, Jesse. Thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate unpacking this with you. Wish you all the best. And if anyone wants to go to Deputy547, that's the same thing for TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah, they're
okay.
the same.
So. Okay, and this guy, get in line, because he's got a lot of followers. So don't send him a message unless. And if you want to,
I get so many, dude. It's hard to keep up. I swear.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, you're good people, and I'm happy for you, bud.
You are too, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, bud. We'll keep in touch, okay?
All right. Take it easy, man.
Take it easy. All right. So let's get back into the live stream here. We got 1 hour, 53 minutes. That was about an hour conversation. I wouldn't divulge everything from the first time we talked, but Jesse couldn't confirm he's come a long ways and he's in a really good place. I'm really excited about the fact that he's doing this charity work with his social media platform. That's really, really cool. Eventually, if I was doing well enough to donate, I would definitely have a chosen charity such as that. That's great. Here we go. Yeah, this is going to be hard to catch back up. She's clearly bored. He should have looked at her. Walked away. These are all advices. Triangulation. What does that mean, Rita Rose Hubbleworth? Azam always likes to leave him on red. Move on, Jesse. Get another one. This is something that we talked about. I've never seen a situation work out where a girl hooked up with a few guys and then went back to the original guy. You know what? That's one of those things that it can happen where someone hooks up with some people in between, but there's been at least a couple years or a year at least involved. It definitely wouldn't happen within a month or 2 months. Yeah. Elena says it never worked out going back with an ex. Says you. Every situation's different, but that's one of those things when you look back and you wanted your ex back, and you can never look forward 10 years, but like 10 years later from like one of my worst breakup, you're like, oh my God, I'm glad we never got back together. There's a reason we didn't, because I would have never made the moves that I made in my life. First argument that comes up, she'll be throwing the other guy's back in his face. This sort of history tends to repeat itself. History does tend to repeat itself. Move on. Sorry. So, Talik. Oh God, so many broken people. Love you all. Why did they break up? I'm not big on. What do you mean by pop psychology? What does that mean, Azam? She would go back to abusive relationship. Aquarius vibe for sure. What's an Aquarius vibe, Elena? Tell me. That's funny. I've had people tell me when I'm an Aquarius, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're definitely an Aquarius." What does that mean? Captain Save-A-Ho. That's a term we used when I was in high school. Rita, you're the same age as me, huh? You're late 30s. Because it's so funny. We used to call people captains all the time because I was a big Master P. So Master P was big when I was in high school. And I remember being like, oh, this guy's being a captain. And my nephew, who's like 20, he's like, what does that even mean? That's funny. Emotional abuse, physical abuse. I've seen very academically smart girls continually go back for more abuse. Almost unbelievable, but true. You know what? I think beyond, everyone gets into childhood, family things do affect future relationships because that's the model you're running on. But you know what? If someone's first relationship when they're 18, 19, 20 is also a model of, because someone just falls for someone because of attraction. Okay, that's what we do when we're young. It's attraction. And then they get into a serious relationship where they love the person, there's a lot of intimacy, and then that person, if they have more experience and they take control of the relationship, if they're manipulative, narcissistic, abusive, someone thinks, oh, this is how relationships are, and they get caught into it. And there's some human beings out there that are extremely manipulative, and if that's someone's first love, it's not always the parents in the childhood. Not in my case. I like men low key, not on social media, just me personally. I think you said that after I said women want men that other women want to fuck or hook up with. Maybe that was too blatant. But I didn't mean that necessarily you need them on social media. But I think that that's true. I think that competition is something women are actually attracted to. People don't get attraction. It's not a choice. That's, what's his name? David D'Angelo or something. I've heard that quote many, many times. Being good doesn't mean you hit her attraction clues. Doing good to get laid is like trying to buy affection. It's a bit deceiving. Okay, so if so, it changes dynamics to some content. He hasn't found his new girl, that's why. I'll tell you what, it is true that, finding new love will erase a bad experience with an ex in a lot of ways. Meeting someone new isn't a replacement. It just doesn't happen right away, usually, if you're doing it the right way. True, I guess starting new is an answer after you healed. Philip Carlson, are you still on? Welcome, buddy. I hope you're well. I haven't heard from you for a little while, so no news is good news sometimes. My girlfriend broke with me 2 days ago. Says Death Skull. What do you think of that name, Aleph? Death Skull.
Death Skull?
Death Skull. You know what a skull is?
Yeah.
It's a pretty dark name, actually, huh?
Mm-hmm. This kind of like pen name or like game name like that.
A game name?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
I imagine that, so what?
Yeah, Death Skull. I've already watched some of the coaches' no contact videos. I don't know if I want her back. I put in an effort and she didn't. Death Skull, if you want to do a call, I'll do it. If not, that's okay too. Philip, if you want to do a call, I'll do it. I'm in the mood right now. I got the juice. I had a couple coffees today. We can unpack something. Petty Betty, always good to hear from you. I hope you're well, hon. I've already watched. I don't know if I want her back. I put the effort in. I put in all the effort and she didn't. Well, that tells you that she's not being receptive and she doesn't want you back, evidently. Right? That's pretty strong right there. The amount of people that don't take no for an answer, it's pretty bad, right? It's like, think about when you like, I always talk about being in a sales situation and someone won't take no for an answer. Do you end up buying the item from them? Usually I despise people like that. I'm like, I told you no, I'm not interested. It's like, no, they're not interested. They don't want to be with you. They're not going to change their mind by you doing something. And the reality is sometimes people are weak and they have a lot of pity. And so some button can be pushed where they're like, all right, I'll take you back one more time, this, that, or the other. But those are the kind of relationships that are extremely fragile and that you're going to break up again because someone just took you back because they feel sorry for you, not because they love you or care about you. And in those situations, they're just prolonging the inevitable because no one had any consequences to improve the situation. All they had was pity, and now the next playbook will be pity. It's just like when people say we've broken up 15 times or 18 times. Someone's like, really? I've heard of people breaking up like, oh, we've broken up 7 times in a year. It's like, okay, so that means that you're using that to win an argument or to negotiate. And when you're doing that, it's going to be very harmful for any kind of argument in the future because then they're going to use that every single time. Right? Everyone repeats what they do the first time in the expectations. All right, got 19 on deck. We got 4 likes. If you want to call in on Skype, I will take a call. If you want to throw me a like, you can throw me a like. If you want to contribute to the chat revenue and make a donation now that I'm at 2 hours, that's appreciated. If you don't, that's okay. Triangulation in romantic relationships, similarly in a romantic relationship. The manipulator will bring another person, more often than not, a new romantic interest, but perhaps a platonic friend into Triangulation. You learn something new every day. Triangulation in romantic relationships. So this has nothing to do with threesomes. In a romantic relation, the manipulator will bring another person more than not a new romantic interest, but perhaps a platonic friend into this screen. So by using the third person, they're going to use that to get the other person jealous into their primary intimate relationship in order to create discord, confusion, and jealousy. God, those are a lot of big words. The disordered individual will enjoy the attention, whether negative or positive, and may even let the... Wow, you're reading this from somewhere, right, Rita Rose, or did you write this? Travel Google. Hi, sir, I'm doing no contact. Started working on my personal growth and started my own YouTube channel. Congratulations, Travel Google. Is it about travel? Aleph, did you want to say something?
I'm just curious that have you asked that Jess about his TikTok or his contact before he left?
Yeah, it was Deputy 547.
Okay.
It's a big following. Big following. Could you imagine over 400,000 followers?
For
TikTok. TikTok, he has 430 or something like that, I think he said.
very a lot.
And Instagram's 36,000.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's major social media pool, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's big time. That's big time.
Right.
That's provides you with a lot of options intimately, probably. There's some people I know that actually that's their like people talk about dating apps. Their primary way of meeting people is Instagram. I've heard of that. I've never, like used that or thought of that in that way. You certainly have people contact you in different ways, but I mean, like, that's their primary thing. Hi, sir, I'm doing no contact. Okay, that was the last one. What's your YouTube channel about? And do you want to talk about your story, Travel Google? Like I said, I'm on a roll right now. I will take calls. Dialed in.
Okay.
Grab me a water. Yep. Can you grab me a water? Nailini Maharaj, my ex is harassing me. So don't be a victim. Call the police, block them. What's the level of harassment? I think, Nalini, you've been on before. Aren't you in the Caribbean? If I remember correct. Yeah, I did no contact. Well, I mean, if they're harassing you, that's the avenue I would go. I wouldn't contact the police. If you feel threatened or harassed, I mean, what's the alternative? What's your definition of being harassed? I mean, there was a situation I saw this was a couple years ago. I don't know if I mentioned this situation. There was these two people getting in a fight. They were in a public place. It was two men fighting over a woman. This was a couple years ago. And I'm witnessing this. And you know how people like kind of sit around and watch? Oh, congratulations, Philip. Congratulations on your daughter's wedding. That's a big deal, bud. I know you're very close. Good for you, bro. So there's these two men. They're about to they're fighting in this public place. One of them pulls out a small knife. Okay. And in the middle of the fight, he chases the other guy away. The other guy runs away out of the scene. And I think, wow, and they were fighting over this woman, I believe. I didn't know the whole details of it. And the interesting thing is the other guy comes back with a shovel from a construction site. So this guy comes down the street with a shovel after the guy had pulled a knife on him, right? And that's when the security guard shows up. And guess what the security guard did to make sure that these guys stopped? I'm going to call the police. These guys, one of them dropped the knife, one of them dropped the shovel, and they both left immediately. It's like, in most places, people don't want the cops to be called. if you're being harassed by your ex and it's putting you in a position where you feel uncomfortable and upset, what's the alternative? I define the simplest definition that applies to Jesse's action by juxtaposing the new dude she mentioned to him. Okay. I don't know if that was simple, but it's deep. Triangulation. I've only had one girlfriend that would talk about her ex quite, not frequently, but it was mostly negative. But they had it has to do with how long someone's been with someone, I think, too. If someone's been with someone for like 5-6 years, but I would just neutralize it. I wouldn't make a big deal out of it, and I wouldn't talk about it any further. The channel is about interesting and amazing facts. Wow, that seems very broad. Travel Google. Interesting and amazing facts. I guess you can find a lot of those in the world.
Okay.
Let's see here. All right, folks, we got 18 on deck, 6 likes. Does anyone have any questions? We got open questions here regarding your breakup, your situation, where you're at in life right now, because we've already had one call in for an hour, which was great. It was grand. It was good. And we now have a situation where Travel Google has started an interesting and amazing facts channel, and he's in the middle of no contact, or she. Travel Google could be a female also. That's a unisex name, Travel Google.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't say Miss Travel Google or Mr. Travel Google, right? Harassing me. What a crappy thing to happen with your ex. Harassment. That just tells you why you broke up with them in the first place if they're going to harass you. I'm a boy, sir. Okay. Not a man. Where you at in the world, Travel Google? Just curious. God, down that water. Did hot yoga yesterday. Just never ending drinking of water.
And now your water is ran out.
Oh, the water's out, yeah?
Yep.
The good water. Yeah. Hot yoga. If you've ever done hot Bikram yoga, you need to get hydrated all day, all night the next day. That's actually a really good thing to do if you're in a breakup, actually. It's a great stress reliever. A great stress reliever. You want to call in 5 minutes? Uh-oh.
Okay. So, may I suggest something?
To Philip Carlson?
Yeah, to anyone who would like to call. If you have a headphone speaker, it's gonna be help a lot to hear your sound. That's it.
It might be help a lot if you have a headphone or speaker. Okay.
Yes.
I think he's gonna probably talk through headphones.
Mm-hmm. So in case that you go someplace that more quiet, it's gonna help the sound a lot too.
Mm-hmm. Philip's a character too. I knew Philip well. He's going to be an interesting talk. He's a lively and fun guy. He was not shy at all. So that'll be interesting if we can talk to him in 5 minutes.
Okay.
We've done a few live coaching sessions already. Rita Rose, I'm waiting for you to call in because you seem like such a character. And the name Rita Rose Hubblesworth, which sounds like an author's name, that some famous author that wrote like a series like Harry Potter or something.
J.K. Rowling?
J.K. Rowling? Harry Potter's huge in Thailand, huh?
Yeah.
I swear, you ask someone in Thailand what their favorite movie is if they're under 25, and they'll be like, Harry Potter.
Yeah, 6 in 10, you say Harry Potter.
It will, right?
Yeah.
It's just like every time, it's always like, yeah, Harry Potter. After 2 months of no contact, her friend asked me whether I miss her. What do you think that that's her reaching out to you? Travel Google, how old are you and where are you at in the world? give me some background here. But I mean, like, do you? What do you even do with that? What do you even do with that? I've never been. I think actually it's really hard. I don't think I've ever. I think that every time I've been in a breakup, what makes a breakup harder is if you live in the same town, or you work at the same job, or you work at the same mall, or you work, like, if you're the closer. 17. All right. To which I said it's a long time. I'm 17. Well, yeah. Well, you're just a kid. Usually this is 18 and over. But yeah, the living in the same town and being very close in proximity to each other really affects you getting out of the breakup. It really does. Anytime someone lives in the same city, or they interact, or they come across each other, it takes a long time to get over that. It takes a long time to, like, you're just going to keep crossing paths, running into each other, triggering things. And so if you can move, or at least move to another town, or something like that, not because you're running away, but because you have an exciting place to go to, that helps. Like Paris. Where would you go live if you could live anywhere, Aleph, in the world? Cat Island?
Oh, I would love to.
Aleph's a huge lover of cats. And he told me that one of his dream locations is to go to Cat Island, this is a real place?
It's a real place. Now in Phuket also have that too, the Cat Islands.
It's in Phuket?
Now, yeah, it's just have in Phuket.
So people just drop off cats there?
On that,
because cats don't swim, do they?
Yeah. On the we call them Kai Island. Have you heard this name before? Kai, got Kai.
Kai is a Kai and Thai is chicken or egg, right?
It's egg, yeah.
Yeah.
So Kai is one of the part of the island in Phuket.
Mm-hmm.
During the COVID, there was some villager that let the cat in there just to catch the rat. In that case, but during the COVID, the cat is spread a lot, so that's why it made Kai Island to have a lot of cat.
Just wild cats everywhere. Because there's not a lot of people that live on Kai Island.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And now I would like to know how is it, because it just happened the first place in Thailand for Cat Island.
So where's the Cat Island that you talk about that you always want to go to? Where's that one?
In Japan.
Japan?
Yes.
Do they have different types of cats there?
Actually, they have a lot of a cat island. Like one that island is one of them is going to be Ginger Cat Island.
Oh God.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's not just only Cat Island in Japan. They have some like Fox Village and Rabbit Island too.
So in the future, when you have a serious girlfriend or wife and you live together, you guys gonna have multiple cats? What would be your limit? What would be your limit on cats? When you get
Four.
4 cats?
Yes.
Is that Cat Island? Danny's showing me Cat Island right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see, Danny. Can I see? Gee, you're not joking.
Yeah, I'm not.
You'd want this would be fucking scary, dude.
How?
This is gross.
How is gross? How cat is
Oh my
gross?
God. I wish I could show this to the screen. There's like 100 cats eating from the Danny's actually another sound guy. He's helping us out here. He helps out with the channel. Danny, you want to say hello? Danny said no. He doesn't want to say hello. He's not interested in doing that. Jessica says, I love this Cat Island talk. Jessica steps in. What's up, Jessica? Jessica's on vacation right now. Yeah, Cat Island's strong. The 11 Cat Islands of Japan. Oh, Philip's coming in. We got a call coming in.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt the Cat Island talk. Hello? Philip?
Hello?
Yes.
What?
How are you, buddy?
I am doing well.
Good. I can hear you now. You're clear. So, congratulations on your daughter's wedding. That's a big deal. You had to give her away, didn't you?
Well, it's actually Saturday. We just went through the rehearsal and the rehearsal dinner tonight. But, yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Good for you, man. You're a good person. You're a good dad, and I'm happy for you. And that it should be a really good weekend. In light of your current breakup, you have a silver lining, huh?
Yeah. and everybody's here, and all the groomsmen. I rented a big Airbnb, a big house. And
Sweet.
about 3/4 of us are staying here, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
Are you in Michigan or somewhere else?
We're in Michigan. We went over by north of Grand Rapids.
Okay.
He's having a big barn wedding.
Okay. Cool, man. That's exciting. Good. That's exciting. So, do you want to update your situation with your breakup?
Yeah, I've been last time we talked. I've been on a few dates. I've been dating.
Sweet.
Exploring. I haven't found anybody that a replacement or a relationship yet, but I've been out there and had some fun, had some bad dates, and I left to come out here Tuesday night,
Mm-hmm.
and on Monday night I was talking to my brother on the phone, and I got a knock on the door at my place
From the ex.
from the ex.
She showed up to your door?
Yes, I looked out the people and I went, and I almost went quiet, like I put like one of those movies. I put my back to the door. I'm like, don't make a sound. What is she? Does she have a gun? Did you see a gun? And I just opened the door and went, hey, what's up? She goes, I want to talk to you. And I went, okay.
That's kind of what it's kind of what we talked about. I was like, at some point, if she wants to see you, she needs to come see you. This is what we've been talking about. So this is interesting. So if you want to talk about it, because this is on a live stream, what happened?
She, I invited her in and I made her a drink, and she just said, I've been really confused lately, and I've been talking, going to Tennessee, and I don't want to go with Dave. I want to live my life with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, it's going to take more than some talk. Your actions have proved otherwise.
Go for you.
And she said, well, you get through this wedding, and she goes, I'd like to start seeing you again on a regular basis if you're up for it. And I said, well, let's take baby steps, and when I get back, we'll go out to dinner, and we'll start, real slow and see where it leads. Because I'm not going to get hurt again. And she said, I'm not going to hurt you. She goes, I know what I want.
Which is?
Me, I guess. But she said.
So when that's interesting, 'cause that's a good way to put it, because you're putting it in your frame when you say, well, we're going to take baby steps. Like, you're not going to just take her back. You're not going to just go back to things as normal. You're still open to the fact that you can see other people at this point?
We didn't discuss that. She was kind of innuendoing that, no, that she wants to be exclusive, and she's all about taking it slow, but she doesn't want me out on the prowl, I guess you would say, out dating or exploring options.
Okay, so that's negotiable, and that's a fair thing to ask up front, and that's okay, but just keep in mind what it is you want from her also, in that at some point, she currently, her living situation with her ex, we won't go completely into that because the live stream doesn't know all about it, but that's what your goal is too, right? Like, you're like, well, I can do that. It's not tit for tat, but it's also like you have to do some things too and meet me halfway on the bridge, correct?
I talked to her about, I said, the current situation doesn't work for me.
Good.
I said, you living with the ex, it does not work for me. And I go, I can't do that anymore. And I said, I won't.
Good.
So it's just it's too hard on me. And she said, that's going to change one way or another.
Okay, but so what I would do, that's fucking outstanding, because this is the first time you really kind of said that's a no-go, that's non-negotiable. In the past, you've been highly understanding and kind of, okay, and the circumstances in the beginning were understandable, but this is kind of the first time you said no, right? Like, this is...
It's the first time I've really put my foot down and
Yes.
said, no, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this situation, even though it took a lot of pain and struggle, is, correct me if I'm wrong, the fact that you finally stopped contacting her, let her get in your head or create these situations, that's when she shows up at your door. This is actually what no contact does, is it creates a situation where someone goes, oh shit, they're not going to play my game anymore. Like, I might lose them. And they have to make a decision. And so for her to show up at your door was a big step for her, because, correct me if I'm wrong, you've said she's very stubborn. So for her to come all the way out and do that, and to know what she wants and say she's confused. But now actions speak louder than words. And I wouldn't say that you need to, okay, he needs to be out of the house by a month. But, if this continues where she keeps putting it off, then you don't want to have the same talk over and over again. But I agree, having baby steps and just go on a date and see what happens, but stick to your guns as far as knowing what you want, because right now she's said that that's going to happen. The only part that's kind of tough is like there's no real plan, or well, he's supposed to move out at the end of the month kind of a thing or something like that.
I didn't think it was the time to go into a plan.
Okay.
I don't know if she has a plan. I think her plan was to come just talk to me and see if, I don't know, maybe that's what, if I was going to be receptive to it. And like I told her, I go, that doesn't work for me, and we're taking baby steps. And
good.
If we go on a few dates and it all comes back, which since we're on a live stream, I guess, but I asked her to leave.
Oh, you asked her to leave after you said that?
Well, no, not right after. But after we talked a little bit more, I said, hey, I got something going on. I'm getting ready to, I'm packing to leave for Grand Rapids. And
good.
I go, we'll talk about it when I get back. We'll go to dinner. And she was like, okay, that sounds great. And she's texted me every night so far, since I've been out here. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, I'm busy. Or I'll talk to her for a little bit.
Well, it sounds like that's a positive, and it sounds like you handled it well. You didn't just wilt and go, "Oh my God, I've been waiting to see you."
That's what I said. Like when I looked out the people and I like turned my back to the door and went, "Oh my God, what is this?"
Yeah, no, I'm not, Philip. I'm not surprised, because I told you that too. I've told you that from the beginning. I don't say that to everyone, that she was most likely going to come back. I didn't know that she'd come back to your door late at night before you're going to the wedding, or when it would be back, but. The fact that you proclaimed that you had such a good relationship with, very good intimacy and very good connection, and that the only problem was very, very, very particular in that she currently lives with her ex and she's going through a few things. I was like, there's no reason for her to not come back. And the way she was contacting you over and over again. So now the step that you just took is very good, because you didn't overcompensate and just go, oh my God, I've been missing you too. Let's just get back together. You put it in your frame, and you took advantage of the situation in a good way, that even if we hook up and get back together, it's not going to be official until it's not going to be officially back boyfriend and girlfriend or partners until you meet me halfway on the bridge about your ex. I think that's a fair thing to ask on your end, right?
She's aware of that. She knows that it's not going to work. And if she's still living with him, it came out, and I said, I was very understanding when he wasn't healthy, and you've done all these things.
For sure.
I've been there for you, but it's time.
I agree 100%. Like I said, there's some guys out there that would be like, oh, I can't believe that you'd let your girlfriend move in her ex. Your particular situation, yes. I mean, if someone's, we've talked about this before, if someone's ex has serious health issues and they were married to them in the past and they're down and out on their luck and they're low on money, there's certain circumstances that are exceptional and that you can understand. But long term, no. When it starts to be divisive in your relationship, then it's not fair any longer. And I think she knows that, and she had to be pushed is what it was, and she needed a consequence. And the consequence was you saying, yeah, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. As juveniles, I'm not talking to you anymore.
I want to hear something kind of funny. She brought up the analogy where I used you told me about the putting the fresh paint on a car, and where I told her about I go, you're just taking a Ford Pinto and putting fresh paint on it and moving all the same crap somewhere else.
Yep.
And she goes, I thought about that. She goes, you're right. She goes, it's a new house and it's a new place, but she goes, when I open the door, she goes, all the same problems.
Yes.
The things I'm happy about are inside that car.
It's so true, because I always encourage people when they're doing a change to change your environment or move somewhere. And I think we've talked about it before, where she wants to move sounds really good and her idea is good, but if she takes the same baggage with her, she's just going to recreate the same problem. So you were dead on. I think the fact that she agrees with you, Because in the beginning, when we first started talking about your breakup and stuff, she was combating everything you said. And now that she's kind of, like I said, meeting you on the bridge and going like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like she needed a consequence. The consequence was like, now I mean business. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to be backpedaling. I didn't do anything wrong. And it's not by accident, because even though you went on these bad dates, at least it gave you some confidence. Not that you're an unconfident person, but it gives you some confidence. Like I can get back out there. I can meet some women.
You know what's fun? Here's I'll tell you a quick funny story.
Sure.
Yesterday the whole family, we were out, and my daughter wants to decorate the barn with pumpkins. So we're out. We're picking up 50 pumpkins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm standing there, and they're bringing wheelbarrows over to the pickup truck, and there was a lady probably about 40 years old standing there, and she wanted one of the wheelbarrows because we had taken them all. And I looked there and I went, hey, beautiful, how about you hop in this truck and start moving some pumpkins around for me? And she goes, okay. And I thought her name was Judy, and my ex-wife pushed, she was there because the family's there. And she pushes up a wheelbarrow and looks at me and goes, you just don't ever stop, do you? I go, I'm not shy.
Like I said, I mean, your personality and everything, when we talked, I'm not surprised. I mean, you got to put yourself in those situations and keep being you. You're happy with who you are. And so when your ex is going on trying to bring you down in the situation you were in, you got to catch yourself and go, wait a minute. I do a lot of good things. I'm a good dad. I'm a good worker. I'm good this. We talked about this. And now you're in a situation where you're like you wrote in the live stream, stop backpedaling. Because that's if you listen to Jesse's call, I mean, he's a really good guy. But he's starting to do that. He was starting to do that a little bit. Again, he's catching himself, I believe. So
it sounds like he's catching himself. It's hard not to, especially during a breakup. You've done it all the time, and I like, he's listened to other coaches. I've watched videos, and they're like, just stand your ground 100%. And if your personality's not that type, it's very hard to do. You're
right, because like I said, you identify with being a nice guy, and so does Jesse. And so doing some of these quote unquote nice things, they don't materialize in a breakup or a relationship sometimes in your favor. And then when they get thrown in your face, it's that old adage where take my kindness for a weakness. There's certain times when, you know what I mean? It's like, I consider myself a nice person, but there's certain times when you're like, all right, you know what? You're taking my kindness for a weakness, and you got to stand up for yourself. And sometimes the crazy thing is standing up for yourself is being like, I'm just going to ignore you. Because it's the biggest thing people hate, right? It's like the biggest punishment most humans can have is not just jail, but solitary confinement, right? Because to be ignored by all. So when that happens, it gets real, really quick. And for you, the reason why I knew that she was going to be interested still, because her current situation, she doesn't have the ability to have other options very easily. And so that's why she has to make a decision. Even if she wasn't, I've told you this before, even if she wasn't coming back to you, which is great that she's finally come to her senses, she still would need to make that change if she wanted to meet someone else, because most men wouldn't entertain that. So
unless she wanted to just have quick flings the rest of her life and keep the.
I don't think that's
her unhappy situation, I guess, but.
No, but you know her better than I do, and I don't think that's who she is. You wouldn't be with someone like that. I don't think that's what she's looking for. You guys have had a good time, a good relationship, and hopefully, if the approach you're taking right now is a discovery mission, there's some uncertainty here about if she can carry out with the plan of an eventual. Basically, she's going to have to kick the guy out. Right? I don't think the guy's going to voluntarily get out. She's going to have to create a situation where she goes, okay. And whether that's a soft landing or a hard landing for him, I don't know. But the interesting thing is, for all of us, we always have to sacrifice something for something good, right? I mean, you always do. I mean, like you said you've been a hard worker for years. You just got a really good new job. I'm sure there's been moments where you have to sacrifice and whatnot, and that's what she's got to do right now. So she can't have her cake and eat it too, and that's what's been happening for a long time. So I'm really happy though. This is good news for you, bud.
It is, but like I said, I'm taking baby steps. I didn't
Good.
jump right as soon as she walked in the door. I didn't try to whisk her off to the bedroom and go, "We're back." No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be pretty guarded about it. And she had brought up, I'm trying to think, a couple other things. Oh, about the ex. She goes, and she also told me, she goes, "You were right. He's got it made. He's never gonna leave. I'm gonna have to make him leave."
Well, that's a realization you're like from the outside. I saw that about a year ago, hon. But okay.
Yep. She's like, he doesn't have to work. I cook, I clean, I do his. I go. She goes, you're right on. She goes, he's got it made. He has no reason to try to better himself.
Philip's like, I could slide right into that position.
Yep. I'll retire as soon as you move in. No, that's not me though.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Yeah.
How would you put that? I don't want someone to take care of me. I want someone to accent me. Is that the right way to put that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, be your partner, help you grow, help you be in a position where you're doing well with yourself. Yeah, you're not in the same position as that guy, and that's what she's attracted to. So that's a good answer, that you don't want to slide in that position. More or less, I like where you're headed with it, though, and it would have been nice to videotape you when you looked through that peephole for the first time.
Oh man, it was like a comedy movie, man. I had the teeth spread out against the door. I was like, "Was that her? Is that her really?"
That's funny. That's really funny.
Oh,
well,
and it was the fastest 30 seconds I ever composed myself.
Oh, really?
Because
gave your hair a little spit shine.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I'm talking mentally. I was freaking out. I'm like, "Oh my God, she's back!" I had to kick. You have to tone back the excitement and go, "This is what's going on. Remember,
put your game face
you
on."
Don't want it. Yep, you can't just
That's funny.
jump right back into it. And I think when I asked her, said, "Hey, I got to finish getting ready. I'm leaving in the morning." She was she took it well, but I think she was a little dumbfounded by it too.
No, that's a great approach. Like I said, a lot of people call it frame, but but here's the thing: you weren't playing games. You really had shit to do. Like you really did have to pack. You're like, I'm not gonna. This isn't gonna be a all my children reunion where you're going on and on. You took control of the situation. You're like, that's a great way to end it, because then she knows, like, she's gonna go home thinking like you're willing to work on this, but on your terms, because it's been on her terms for a long time, and you played that game. And you were fair about it, and it didn't work, and it wasn't fair, and now you're going, yep, no more of that. And so, like, by you saying, not in an asshole way, like, I got some things to do, and we'll catch up when I get back. That's a great way to finish it, and you're not being a game. It's like, yeah, no, I truly do have things to do. So I think that's.
The suitcase was out, putting the suit was all hanging by the door. I'm like, I'm packing, and I'm taking off early in the morning. I got to go.
Well, that's outstanding.
And like I said, she's texted me just about every night. "How's it going? Are you having fun?" Mm-hmm. And I haven't been getting any of that. What was the tactic she was using? The guilt or the.
No, that's what I said.
Angry.
No, it was more. It was. I said, like, it was a guilt blanket. Everything that was thrown at you was inhibiting you to be guilty, or for you to answer for something you've done in the past that was petty. Like, none of the things that were brought up, and it was like, well, I didn't do that. Well, that's not what I meant. And like, and walking on eggshells or backpedaling, and then me and you, when we had our coaching calls, like I said, I'm like, the worst thing you can do is defend yourself when you know something's just not true, right? Like, when you're just like, okay, this is when you can. It can happen once where you're like, maybe there was a misunderstanding about a word or a text, and then you need to clarify it. But a lot of men, what they do wrong is saying sorry. Women can't do, like, when you say sorry repeatedly and you're not really sorry. You're like, I'm not really sorry. You know what I mean? It's like, actually, I didn't do anything wrong. Let me explain how you misunderstood me. I've been in arguments where I'm like, wait a minute, you misunderstood me. I'll explain it. So I'm not sorry, because this is a misunderstanding. There's a difference. But some of the things that she was bringing up, like I said, and it was just to keep you in the game because she couldn't make a decision. So it's kind of like, I just want to keep you on the fishing line and play a little longer. And I'll decide if I want to reel you in or not reel you in. And you finally went, nope, I'll spit the hook out.
You know what else was very interesting that she brought up while we were talking, and I didn't bring it up. And she goes, "Oh," and I've had a very long talk with Chris. and he's okay with whatever decision I decide to make.
That's the son?
Yep.
That's a big one. Well, that's a big one. I mean,
I was like,
well,
I didn't.
that's gonna be something she's got to deal with too. That's not your responsibility. You know what I mean? You didn't do anything. It's different if it's your responsibility if you're treating his mom wrong. If he's being immature and unreasonable, then that's something she's gonna have to deal with because that's her son who's an adult man. So that's really good that she stepped up and said that, because basically this is the best case scenario where you're at now. It doesn't mean you're back together, but you actually are sorting out the problem, right? Like you're like, all right, this is very clear. This is what I'm willing to do. This is what you're willing to do. And she's actually, made some progress on that. So you're in a good place. I'm interested to hear what happens in the next chapter.
Well, I'm interested myself.
All right.
And
go ahead.
I listen to a lot of. I've watched. I've told you I've watched a lot of videos, and all of them always say, "Go no contact 30 days. Work on yourself," which I've done immensely, but work on the problems that I created in the relationship. It was nice when I talked to her that she appears to have worked on a lot of the issues that she had in the relationship, like Dave and her son. Or ex and her son, sorry. Did I use a name there?
Well, you did already. But the thing that we got into in the coaching thing, sometimes this comes up. This is why it's good to talk to me or someone else, is I was able to tell you, like, the shit you're apologizing for and the stuff that you're doing, like, this stuff's not stuff to dwell on. This isn't, you know what I mean? This isn't to have you bear the cross. Like, some of the things that were getting brought up, it's like, yeah, sorry one time, done. You know what I mean? It's like, the old cable bill or whatever, like they were just petty things. And so sometimes you need to be reassured of that by someone that's like an outside party that goes, actually, in this case, you didn't, to be honest with you, and I don't say this to everyone, you don't have a whole lot of work to do on yourself. This wasn't a problem with Philip or his character or his personality. This was a problem with her not being able to make a decision to commit and to make some tough decisions that would enhance your guys' relationship and take it to the next level. That had nothing to do with like you working on yourself. You're pretty comfortable with who you are. You know what I mean? The only thing you need to do, Philip, is quit smoking cigarettes, right?
I just lit one. I just lit one. I'm outside. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I'll tell you what, and for everybody that's listening, if I wouldn't have unpacked all this, I would still be a miserable, up and down anxiety guy.
Well, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. It was good. It's good working with you on it. We're not going to be strangers, that's for sure. I want to hear about what happens next for sure.
Especially come February.
Oh yeah. That's right. Yeah, definitely. I'll be your host. Okay, Philip. I want to wish you the best on your. What?
I'm going to keep in touch.
I know.
I plan to call this week. With everything going on, it was just been hectic. So
I love the fact that you want to talk to me when there's good news too, because some people just like I don't hear from them after we've been talking. I'm like, and they're like, oh no, I met someone, or oh no, you know what, I just got over it. And I'm like, okay, thanks for the good news. I like the updates of the good news. So right now, I think this is definite progress, and like I said, I'm not surprised. So if you want to talk next week.
I'm going to keep. Oh yeah, I'm going to set up a session. But I'm going to keep talking to you, buddy. That's
all right.
Like I said, I would be where I'm at without unpacking and talking to you.
I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Thanks, buddy. Have a good weekend and enjoy the wedding. Have a good time and keep being you, bud.
All right, thanks. You enjoy your weekend too coming up.
All right, bro. Take it easy.
All right. Bye.
Philip's good, people. That you could just tell in his voice, huh? He's a good guy, huh? Aleph?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a good dude. Death Skull comes in. She said she only saw me as a friend after the breakup or when you were together. As the great Biz Markie said, do you know this song, Aleph? You say she's just a friend.
Nah.
You never heard that song? It's from the 80s. Great rap song. Have you ever heard that one, Danny? You know that one. You say she's just... One of my friends did that at karaoke, had everyone standing. You say she's just a friend. I wish we could play music in the background. That'd be fucking cool. You know that one, Skinner? Yes, Danny is Thai, even though his name's Danny, which isn't a Thai name. Right? That's why he's maybe asking. The friend line. She said she only saw me as a friend. We were friends before. Death Skull, I'm on a roll right now. Do you want to call in? Digital Cannon, I am still live if you want to call in. Digital Cannon says, love. Leave her. A man of few words. I like it. Maybe I should change the show. Like, send your story in, I'll read it, and I'll just have like 2-line answers, like leave her. Never talk to her again. Done. Lose her.
What you release, then keep it repeat.
What you release, you don't
Don't make it repeat.
Don't repeat what you release. Maybe we'll reverse that grammar. Yeah. Don't repeat what you release. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's a way to look at it. No contact. That's simple. Digital Cannon. Yeah, no, this, I don't know if I've ever had that. I only saw me as when they say they only saw you as a friend, is that during the relationship? Or are they saying like, I just want to be friends now that we broke up? Because that's pretty harsh. If you're in a relationship and the individual goes, I only saw you as a friend when we were together. She's bullshitting, he says. Could be. We got 14 on deck, 7 likes. Thank you. Chat revenues at $9.99. I'll take it. That's cool. I appreciate the donations. I'm in high school. Okay. Well, this is supposed to be 18 and over. If someone says she say, yeah, Petty Betty knows that song. She says, I'm just a friend. Biz Marquee, the great legend. Great song. Great song. Yeah, if someone puts you in the friend zone and you don't want to be in the friend zone, then the answer to that is, I got plenty of friends. I got a lot of friends. I got a lot of acquaintances. So I don't need another one to back them up. Of course I know the song. Great song, Skinner. Like I said, one of my friends played it at karaoke one night in a little dive bar. He had the whole play. Like he got up on a chair and just got into it. It was funny because it's a simple song actually. Now I'm gonna have to show you guys that song later on.
Okay.
Yeah, you're young. You have plenty of options. Go have fun. Forget this one. That's great. That's great simple advice, Digital Cannon. Absolutely. Oops, I didn't know it was 18. I found your channel yesterday. Friend zone is trapped. Don't fall in it, guys. Yeah, no. I haven't been in one of those for good. And I would say this is up to you, but if you maybe soften up the name a little bit if you're meeting women with the name Death Skull. I don't know if you go by that with your friends. Or if that's a tag name or something. Death Skull. That's strong, huh? Mm-hmm. I don't even know what to do with that.
Death Skull.
Yeah. Anyone else want to call in? I'm going to give you a couple more minutes. We've done 2 hours, 44 minutes. She wants to keep you on her leash, which is fine, but don't give her any more attention. Live your life. Live your life. Hopefully it's a good one. Go find another girl. Be a friend. No, I had the name since 6th grade. Death Skull? Wow. Jeez. It's a gamer name. You were correct.
Yeah.
I can tell in 10 minutes, bought to get off work. I can call in 10 minutes, but about to get off of work. 10 minutes. Is there enough in the tank for 10 minutes? Jeez. I don't know if we can keep this going for another 10 minutes. Things are starting to filter out here. Brand new Skinner's been on since the beginning. Came on first. We had a couple technical difficulties in the beginning. It's not cool. I'll call in another day. No, I'd like to take your call. Is this where, are you going to be talking about your breakup specifically, or you just want to talk? I mean, do you have a breakup situation? Do you want get my opinion on it, or is it more like some people just want to let's just get some shots out? It's almost 1:00 here. we might have to do it tomorrow, I think, actually. Danny, you guys are up late. Danny or Danny Lee Jai? Lei Jai.
Lei Jai.
Lei Jai. Is that a word in Thai, actually?
What?
Lei Jai? No, Jai means heart in Thai.
Yeah.
The name says Danny Lei Jai. You guys are up late. Actually, it's 12:50 p.m., so it's the afternoon where I'm at. Everybody, isn't it?
Now?
Yeah, no, it's 12:50. Yeah,
Wow.
it's almost 3 hours on the live stream. But the funny thing is, everyone just assumes everyone's on the same time in an international platform.
Mm-hmm.
Danny, where are you at in the world? Danny or Danny? Danny with an I? Donnie. That's the pronunciation. Donnie Lei Jai. Like I said, Jai's heart. Yeah, this might be LOL. Isn't that funny? Rob likes that one. We've had a few calls today, Rob. Oh, here we go. One's just coming in. This is someone that called before. Hello? Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Yourself?
Pretty good.
Is this
Pretty good.
Is this Digital Canon or someone different?
Yes, this is Digital Canon.
All right. I didn't have to wait 10 minutes. All right, dude. All right.
Yeah. I may have to cut short though if my coworker gets here to relieve me, but I could try to make it quick.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so that one girl that I was talking about that was smoking weed and all that stuff. So it's that girl that's hot and all that.
Mm-hmm. I remember your name. You're in Orange County, I believe, or L.A.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Yeah, Orange County. Well, she got contacted by her ex, or they've been keeping contact. I don't know that extent, or to the extent of what that was, but I guess his mom died, and he was like crying to her or something, and she's like, she just told me this stuff out of the blue, like, oh, he called me and he was crying, and I didn't, I was comforting him. She didn't ask how I felt about it or any of that, or even acted like she cared. She was just going to do it regardless, So I was like, well, okay, whatever. And then I guess she claimed she's going to go to the funeral where he was, which is out of town, like more in LA County. So she went there, claimed that she went with her family, but then cut contact with me for like the entire day. Didn't check in at all. Nothing. How's it going? How's your day? She didn't care about any of that. She was just doing her thing over there. And then the next couple days, he had posted on social media. The only way I know this is because she got tagged in it. But he had posted that there to get like old photos of him and the girl that I'm talking about that I was dating, and he had posted old photos of them and like an old video that was only like.
This is on social media.
Yeah, and
on his post or her post?
His post, but then she commented on it. This is how I found out about it. She commented on it and said, tag me in it with like smiley face emojis and all that stuff. And like she's all excited about it or whatever. And this is while we were supposed to be like exclusively dating. And she's the one that asked me like, so you exclusively date, right? Because that's all I do.
Okay,
and
let me interject.
Yeah.
Let me interject. Exclusive dating, does that mean you're boyfriend, girlfriend?
Right.
So you're introducing each other as boyfriend and girlfriend?
It was super early in the stage that we decided to do that, but that's what she was saying.
Okay, just to clarify, because sometimes people say dating is different than boyfriend, girl. So you're together, she's going with her ex to a funeral for his father?
For his mother.
For his mother. Okay, see, if that's an ex of mine and they wanted me to go to a funeral, I would definitely go and to support them. So I don't think that that's too wrong. Showing a photo, you're saying like a slideshow on social media of some sort with pictures of them together?
Yeah.
And then, but they're pictures from the past, not from recent?
Well, they're pictures from the past, but then also there's a video of them together when her and I first started dating, and like she had told me that she was only dating me. So it's just kind of like, like if she were to set it up differently, it would have been different in my head. Like it would have been, I would have addressed it differently. But she claims all this stuff, but then turns around and you look on the other side and it's not actually who she is.
So you don't trust
I don't
her?
know. Right.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your trust?
Well, I mean, we're not even together anymore.
Oh, you just broke up with her?
Yeah, I'm doing the no contact thing too. I'm not trying.
You broke up with her for that reason specifically?
Yeah, and just the accumulation of all the other, like the weed. But yeah, I would say that was it, because it was like it was more because like she didn't even. She claims she wants to be close and show me all this attention and care, but she didn't even ask that whole day how my day was when she was gone, which I understand for certain things, but like if you're going to an ex's thing and you don't check in once throughout the entire day, it's kind of like, well, what the hell?
I will interject on that. If it's someone's mother's funeral, it's a pretty dramatic, long day. I could see where someone might be busy or caught up in that. But here's the thing, when you have little things that add up to a lot, like it sounds like, oh, this, and then this, like you're building a case. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this isn't just one event where she didn't call you. But I mean, if I had if I had a girlfriend and she went to her ex's mother's funeral, I would be understanding, because that's extremely dramatic and you probably knew the mother and that's a serious thing. And I wouldn't expect her to maybe in that afternoon text me. But if there was other smoke going on around the fire, such as, these other tit-tat things that all add up to things you don't like, well, then it's just added on. They're separate events, but it just sounds like you just don't trust her. And an event like this should be trusted. And if you don't, that says that it's not because let's put it this way, Digital Cannon, like if you didn't have the other issues such as the weed smoking and maybe some of the other like red flags that you've seen, probably if everything was going, really well, peaches and cream, rose petals and wine glasses, just nice and flowing. If she came to you and she's like, oh my God, my ex's mom just passed away, I have to go away to this funeral, you'd probably be like, no problem, hun. But it's the other things added up with this that lack trust. Is that correct?
Right.
So like,
that's correct.
So it's so don't isolate it on one thing. It's an accumulation of things that add up to you just not trusting her, and you're just not you're like, God, a lot of these stories don't seem truthful. And so if you don't have trust, you can't have a relationship long term. You just can't.
Right.
So where are you at with it now?
Just the no contact thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So, you have any other questions?
No, that was it. I was just calling in to say that.
All right, bud. Well, I'm glad you called in. I'm moving forward. It sounds like you're doing the right thing based on just having a lack of trust, because you can't. Trust is the hardest thing to build. It takes time. It also takes time to unwind it. But if you don't have it from if you have trouble trusting someone over the first 6 months or 8 months, you're probably gonna have trust problems in the first year, because it should be your trust should be continuously getting better and better. You always want to give your partner the benefit of the doubt till they prove you wrong. But it seems like there's a lot of times when you're doubting, like, wait, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't add up. And the other question you have to ask, in past relationships, have you had trouble trusting people, or is this just one that you recently had? Was there past relationships where you have trust issues?
Nope.
Well, then then maybe your gut's telling you the right thing. These are gut feelings, right? Like, this doesn't add up. Yeah. Well, in that case, then trust your gut. It's not a character issue with yourself where you just don't trust people, because there are people like that, right? They're just like, anyone they meet, they go, I don't trust this person. I have friends like that. And you're like, okay, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. So if I were you, It sounds like, if I had to guess, you're highly attracted to her. I think you said she was really hot, if I remember correctly, and that's what's keeping the engine running. And that's okay if you want to be friends with benefits, but you don't want to be serious with an individual like this, because it sounds like you're going to get disappointed again and again, right?
Yeah.
So,
and she told me she wasn't going to do that. She was like, no, I don't do that with people. I only do serious stuff. But it's like, well, you're not even being serious about this relationship. So,
well, it's certainly something you can revisit. I mean, if you want to over time and keep dating and keep doing your thing. But currently, the way you feel right now, it just seems like I said, like if you can't believe them, and then the worst thing is when you don't believe someone and they're telling the truth. So then you know what I mean. Right now, because right now you're not definitive that you know she's lying. You just suspect it, and all of them are suspected until you find out some real information where she is. But then you got the other things that you just don't like about her. There's some things that like the pot smoking, the things up front. You just feel the foundation hasn't been built very strong, and in the beginning of the relationship, you're setting the expectations for what goes on later. And so what you put up now with, you're going to put up with later. If this was an isolated event, like I said, seeing someone going with their ex's mom's funeral, you can have compassion for that and understanding. But having a problem, like she didn't say, how are you doing later in the afternoon, that's understandable for being at a funeral. But it sounds like it's way more than that. It's not just that situation. That's just the cherry on top. So is that helpful or useful?
Yeah.
Okay, bud. All right.
Cool.
All right.
I appreciate it.
No problem, Digital Cannon. Thanks for chiming in and calling in. I hope you're well, and have a good one there in SoCal.
You too.
All right, bro. Late. All right, we got our last call in. Thanks, Philip, for saying thank you. Danielle, LOL. I'm in Houston. Never been there. Don't really like the Rockets. Never was an Astros fan either. They got good music that comes out of Houston, though. Are you in a breakup right now, Danielle? You want to talk about it? You want to call in? Maybe that's going to be it. We're up at 3 hours, 16 on deck, 7 likes. If someone wanted to call in within the next 2 minutes, I'd take it. It doesn't look like anyone's waiting on deck right now. But we will be on tomorrow, 10 a.m., Indochina time. I get where you're coming from, Digital Cannon. Right on, Skinner. Throw that in there for some moral support. Yeah, well, it's one of those things. You're building a case of why you're breaking up. 2 a.m. here in Toronto. 2 a.m. You're a night owl, Rob. Seriously. I go to bed at like 10:30. If I don't get to bed by 11:30, I don't do well the next day. I guess everyone has a different clock. 2 a.m. in ATL, Atlanta. Wow. Petty Betty, also a night owl. What do you think today, Danny? Was it a good stream? 3 hours? Decent? Highlights? Anything interesting to you? No, nothing interesting. You just do your job and keep your head down. Okay, fair enough. At some point. Aleph walked out. He's had enough. He was rolling his eyes at the end. I do it for the channel. Ooh, Rob. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's growing. It's getting better. It's getting stronger. We'll get 25, 30 soon enough. The audio's right. The sound guys are here. They're helping out. It's going to make a difference. We got calls coming in. Rob, in your opinion, what was the highlight of the 3 hour show that you've been holding tight on? Skinner, what do you think? Do you like the call-ins? Is that what we're rolling with long term? I could see some people, though, during a call-in that goes long, that they're kind of going, okay, can we do another call? What's interesting is you were asking earlier if Danny, the guy that I love the call-ins. Cool, all right, thanks, bro. Danny was saying that the first guy that called in, Jesse, who I've done live coaching with, is a really cool dude. He's like, he talks really fast. But that's because where he's from, they talk in a different style. He's from the South. And he moves. His words move fast. I would, but I don't really have a situation. Yeah, you don't need to call Rob unless you want to talk about something specifically. That's for sure. I appreciate the fact that you're just a fan of the channel and the content. Same with you, Skinner. Call-ins are fun for me. Gives me some juice. I did a 5-hour last week. So tomorrow I'll be on at 10 a.m. Indo-China time. I don't know what time that is for you guys. What would that time be? 10 a.m. Indo-China time I think would be 11 p.m. Eastern time in the States. And 8 p.m. Pacific time. I could be wrong. Danny, on your phone real quick, can you check for me what time it is in what time? So no, 2 a.m. Yeah, that's right. It would be 11 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. That's right. It's usually around 10 for me when I see you. Okay, because you're in Chicago, so you're not East Coast time, right? So actually, you're dead on the opposite. I'm 10 a.m. You're 10 p.m. Doing work. Well, I've enjoyed this stream. It's been good. It's been grand. We're going to call it curtains. I'll be on tomorrow. Let's get the call-ins. Thanks for the likes. If you want to throw a few more likes, that's good. It's supposed to help the channel in some way. You don't have drama either, Petty. That's a good thing, hon. I'm sure you will at some point, and I'll be there. You can call me. The chat revenue's at $9.99. Thanks to Brand New Skinner. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. We had a little Instagram celebrity on today, 36,000 followers. That's something big. What's up, Jen? How you doing? I'm doing well. Yes. Jen, I hope you're doing well. Haven't heard from you in a long time on the call, but I'm assuming you're doing really well. The fires have died down. The weather's still hot over there in Cali. What's this? Guess who I'm seeing tomorrow? Dun, 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 dun. I don't need to guess. I already know. Well, I hope it works out. I hope it goes well. I hope it goes where it needs to go. Right? Hope it goes where it needs to go. As in all. I'm hoping. Well, and part of hoping is making it happen too. You're going to contribute to whatever happens. Lead with good intentions and honesty. And you get what you want and imagine the best. This was a good run today. We had a nice mix up here. All right, folks, I'm going to call it curtains. It's lunchtime. Take it easy. Take it slow. See you tomorrow.